Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new season of the KCM. We are in season 2 of 2023, getting started here with game number 1 on Vermeer. Let's get it going. Alright, scan in the top right hand corner. Gonna be spawning there on Vermeer. Cross maps is Sins down here in the bottom left. The blue Protoss. Got our lineup now on the screen. Royal Light Scan, Best Bisu Sins, Soma, Queen Soul Key. It's looking very, very strong for the Zerg players. And yes, I've got my co-caster here with me. This time it is Shun. And
so good.
yes, Shun, he's been helping me out a whole bunch with the ladder, helping me practice, get better with Zerg. He is a A-ranked Zerg player, a streamer, and a caster as well, so wearing a lot of hats there. But for today he's going to be my co-caster here in the KCM. You excited?
I'm pretty damn excited after seeing that lineup, so
Yeah, it's looking good. I feel like Scan and Sins are a tiny bit out of place here.
those are the only two names. Yeah,
We've seen Scan in the KCM previously, but every single game he's been cheesed out. And it's been a little bit disappointing. We love Scan. He is an English speaker. He makes guides. He streams a lot. He's a very fun personality to watch, but hasn't had a lot of success in the KCM so far.
he's certainly a strong enough player to take a game off of these pro gamers. However, they are all very aware of his style and how to dismantle him, so he might have a hard time up against it in this lineup.
Yeah, absolutely. But at least he's taking on Sins here to start off. Sins also a challenger player, like a ASL challenge player or a KCM challenge player. He hasn't really had that true ASL success as of yet, similar to Scan. And so it should be a decent match here for the first one.
And Sin's going to be going for a very standard 1-gate core, and respectively Scan going for 1 Rex with a fairly fast gas, so nothing out of the ordinary for either player so far.
Phew, so we're not going to have a crazy, all-in or a cheese build here to get rid of Scan early. He should be able to show his stuff here. He's definitely got some great macro play, and hopefully he'll be able to show that here today.
But at this level, even if you are known for being an aggressive player, you still have the capacity to play a very standard straight-up game if needed.
That's right. That's right. But it can be scary to go up against even a lower ranked player in a best of 1. I feel like these pro players, they don't know what to expect from Scan exactly. Like, maybe he's gonna cheese me or whatever. Maybe he's gonna do something. He's got some sort of plan here to take me down. So why not just put on a big amount of early pressure, do some sort of cheese build, and then dictate the pace of the game. That way Scan can't pull off whatever build he's got planned. I think that's the thinking from most of the pro players he's played against so far. But here, Sins, similar skill level here. Just going to be going for a very standard build. There's going to be a Vulture Expand on the side of Scan. And what is this, 25 Nexus for Sins here.
Now, Scan is opting to delay the bunker and instead just rely on the 3 Marines and Vulture to deal with the initial Zealot Goon pressure, which he can do, especially given the cross-map positions. He's getting he thinks he's getting a little bit delay on the natural, but he isn't. Right now, having to deal with this Goon shuffling in, confirming the gateway, and Zealot getting on top of the Marines before the bunker is finished, and might even snipe off 2 of 3 of these Marines before the bunker is even able to be fortified. So pretty nice pickup from Sins there, but did take a lot of hull damage on that Dragoon, so needs to be careful.
Takes some hull damage, but trades a Zealot and a Probe for 3 Marines there. Not too bad at all. He also confirms the CC is on the way, so some good information there for Sins. He's going to follow up with a Robo. Still has his range on the way as well here. But this Vulture gonna sneak out on the map. Oh, good job there by Scan. This adds a bit of uncertainty for Sins. He may end up having to keep his Dragoons back at home and not deal any pressure damage to that bunker.
Yeah, and Scan didn't take any shots on that Vulture getting it out as well, so that's like best case scenario for him right now.
Okay, SCV transfer is on the way. And things are just kind of chilling out here for now. We're going to be powering up for a little bit here. Second gateway on the way. It is snowing like crazy in Canada right now. I'm looking out the window, just complete whiteout here in Calgary, Alberta.
How many feet of snow do you typically get over there?
Oh, I don't know. There's tons of snow. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. And I mean, even in April, guys, we're still getting snow. It kind of cleared up for a little bit, got a little bit warm, and now we're back to winter again. Spring is not quite sprung here in Alberta, Canada, and it is dry as a desert right now. My skin is cracked. I wake up in the morning with my mouth completely dry because my nose is all plugged up. It's not a good time. I do not recommend.
It sounds like you need a lot of H2O and moisturizer.
Yeah, H2O moisturizer, and of course a humidifier is absolutely essential here. Now we've got a second factory on the way, and all the Dragoons are back at home just kind of chilling in this wall. I think Sins might be a little bit afraid of a drop, some sort of drop play coming. He even sent his observer around in the inside of the main base, just making sure nothing was coming. But there's no such thing coming from Scan. He's just powering up here with an armory on the way. In the natural there, he's got his second factory. He's going to be potentially taking a third base here. He scans, he sees the robotics facility. He knows exactly what's coming. A Reaver will be on the way here for Sins.
Now, Reaver can put on a little bit of pressure, but most importantly, we'll be able to slow down any push that comes out from Scan.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to slow down this third base too if he decides to take it. Engineering bay on the way. Third base coming up here for Sins. Everything looking pretty standard so far. This Ob's going to get in there and see the factory counts. Got to be a little bit worried about these Goliaths and Marines here. They're in a position which looks like he's ready to snipe down an observer as it comes in. So just darting around the outside here, keeping it a little bit safe. Wants to get in there eventually, though, and confirm what's coming. And it's going to be a starport, likely for the science facility in +2.
Yeah, it definitely seems like we're going to be having a 2-1 timing observer trying to sneak into the main base, and it's going to probably confirm that momentarily.
Looks like
with the...
Go ahead.
Oh, with the Goliaths, though, he's going to probably get the snipe on the observer, but furthermore, he's going to have great anti-shuttle play when he does decide to move out. Goliaths are great at helping deal with shuttles. In fact, Tank Goliath is one of the best counters to the speed shuttle style. I don't think we're going to be seeing many speed shuttles right now, but a very quick Stargate from Sins. So going to be teching up really quickly in this matchup, which I think is going to be important, especially because of the tech pattern that Sins is just scout with Scan choosing.
Yeah, and it's pretty clear here that Scan wants to go for more of a macro play, and you know, going for something like a carrier would be really, really good against that. We do have a couple of vultures out on the map. There hasn't been too much harassment damage throughout this game, and looks like Scan's looking for an opportunity to change that. And we went for a very, very quick siege mode here. And there's no speed on these vultures. I don't even know if there's mines. I don't see a single mine out on the map.
Well, I'm expecting a third command center to be started in the main base momentarily. I haven't seen Scan put that down yet. I'm curious what his plan is right now.
It's like he does start something there in the main. That could be the command center. There's... Oh my god, 2 more Stargates coming up. 3 Stargate carrier going to be on the way here. And the Scan comes down. What does he see? Spinning cybernetics core. He's gotta be suspicious here now. There's probably a carrier transition coming, but he doesn't know the lengths to which Sins is going here. With 3 starport carrier coming, there's gonna be a lot of carriers very, very quickly.
Yeah, Scan's gonna have to drop a lot of factories soon. He knows he's got like a good 3 to 4 minutes of like not having to worry, but as soon as that timer is up, the pressure's going to be on. So he's going to be trying to set himself up as solidly as he can for the next few minutes, and maybe go for a push to try and knock down the house of cards before it gets too strong for Sins.
It's a lot of factories coming up here. It's a good amount of tanks as well. We're gonna have to watch Scan here very carefully as he moves out to take his third base. This is a very important move. You want to get this as quickly as possible and then start the push across the map. Oh boy, Reaver gonna get 2 shots. Does manage to kill one of those tanks. Oh, he gets another 2.
Nice. That's a great pickup from Sins.
Very, very big shots there. Killing 2 tanks before the engagement ever occurs. That's free damage. And more turrets coming up in the main here. You can see that Scan does not want to be forced to turn around. Once he starts his attack, he scans, he sees the triple. He has to know that now is the time. Gotta go across the map here very, very quickly and shut this down before triple carrier pops out. Once triple carrier's out, it's a little bit scary, but the second round of carriers is what is really going to be a trouble here for Scan. Once you have 6 carriers on the map, it's so hard to deal with.
Yeah, 4 is like the minimum amount where they start to be able to do work, but 6 is where it starts to become a bit of a problem for the Terran to start managing. So going from 3 to 6 is definitely a huge power spike for Sins if he can survive for that long. We now have Scan moving out to the middle of the map, setting up for his push. He knows he's got another minute or 2 to get going.
And Sins being a little bit passive with these Reavers is not slowing down the army nearly as much as he probably should or could. They've already made it here almost towards the third base, and the Reavers are being picked up and moved over here to the right side once again. I guess he didn't want Scan to get up on top of that high ground just outside of his natural, but Scan's not interested in that. He's going directly over here to the third. He's mining up his flank, and Sins looks to be going for a counterattack.
Yeah, he cannot engage this army head on. There's enough Goliaths here to fight these 3 carriers, so Sins actually has to avoid this army at all costs right now, so we'll be going for that counterattack. I don't know if he's going to go for the third or straight into the Terran production, but he's going to have to do something quite dramatic soon. I think he will just try and get right on top of the Terran production. I think that's the right choice as well.
Alright, and Scan is jumping right here into the natural. He's going to start to pick off some Nexi here, but he's getting broken in the front. Oh man.
Streamline forward, turrets going down in the main, carriers coming to support the Reavers as well, and the shuttle has 7 HP.
Unbelievable, 7 HP there. How did that survive? He's gonna start to hit these factories with the Reaver, and you can actually target in the middle of those factories and hit all of them at the same time. Meanwhile, one carrier here just popped out at the Stargates and almost gets picked off. 75 HP on that before it even builds a single interceptor. Bit of a mistake there for Sins, who should have had those rallied to the other side of his base. He's going to be losing his Stargates now. Oh god, he's going to lose this.
That's a huge pick for Scan. That might give him a tiny bit more of win percentage to work with in this precarious situation. He's got a fairly large standing army left over, maybe enough to clear up the Protoss infantry that's out on the map right now, but the Scan doesn't have enough army to finish the game and survive, so he's kind of having to retreat right now, and it might be the right choice. He has limited the carrier production a little bit, but he's in a bit of a bad way. He needs to get back and defend because he's not going to be able to stabilize his production with his rallied units.
Oh, that Reaver shooting right in the middle of those factories, dealing so much damage. He's losing all of his production right now. Scan desperately sending everything back home here. One carrier actually alone in the middle of the map. Maybe he can pick that off. 3 carriers coming up now, gonna kill off these turrets, maybe go after some tanks here as well. And this is looking bad for Scan. He's got so many SCVs not mining right now. Meanwhile, back at home, Sin's just mining minerals in his main base is going to be enough to keep building interceptors here and keep picking off tanks. Getting a bunch of kills now and still dealing damage here in the main base is Sins.
Yeah, like 4 factories have gone down. There's only like 4 remaining, and Scan desperately trying to get up onto the high ground so he can fight off these Dragoons while the carriers get dealt with by the Goliaths. I actually think that Scan's kind of lucky because I think Sin's neglected building more Scarabs on his Reaver. It took the Reaver a long time to nuke down these factories. I feel like if he was more on top of his Scarab production on the Reaver, he probably would have cleared up more of the production quicker. But Scan getting quite a few of these carriers as they try and retreat out of the main base. So Sins actually having his carrier count reduced quite significantly and has lost his natural and third, so he's only mining on that main base, so does need to try and win the game soon because Scan can stabilize from here.
Yeah, Scan needs to defend, get his Nexus back up, and get that carrier production rolling again. Scan, on the other hand, you know, he needs to keep his third base alive here, and it appears like he's going to be able to do that as the carriers fall back across the map. Scan, he's stabilized here. He doesn't have very many SCVs left. He doesn't have very many factories, but he's got that 3-base mining going, and that's more than we can say for Sins right now.
And he's got 2 of those 3 carriers on really low HP as well, so I think Scan's actually going to be okay. I think he just barely held on by the skin of his teeth. Even though he lost like 4 of the 8 factories, I think that he's just barely got enough production left over and then plenty of economy to not only stabilize, but maybe do a counter push soon.
Oh, losing Dragoons to mines in the middle of the map is so painful. So painful here. And it looks like a few vultures looping around for Scan as well. This could be a brilliant move here. Coming into the natural, there's nothing. Everything is going across the map for Sins, so he's going to lose a bunch of probes right now, and this is all the mining that Sins has at the moment. He's not even going to be able to produce interceptors at this point, and he's going to start to focus down a few of these tanks. But Dragoon's taking tank fire here. He's going to shoot down one of the carriers right off the bat, picking the right one there. And the carriers have to retreat. The Dragoons are just walking into tank fire. Oh my god, all of them getting splattered. And Sins has to back away.
So much blue blood, and the other carrier was only like 1 or 2 shots from being taken down as well, so there's not much remaining for Sins to work with. He's now mined out in the main base, had a lot of his probes devastated, will only just now be able to start mining in his natural, so still on 1 base economy, so he's desperate for some damage here, and I'm not sure he's going to find it. There's just so many Goliaths being pumped out from these factories, more than enough to deal with these few carriers, and 1 does go down now, so reduced to only 2 carriers in this position. GG.
GG. Sins taps out, and Scan, against all odds there, manages to take a win. It's generally not a good idea, guys, to do a base trade against carriers. Very often you're going to end up losing that type of situation, but Scan played it very well there. He picked off the main and the natural, or the natural and the third base, and retreated and kept his factories alive. He kept his third base alive. Everything kind of working out there for Scan nicely, and I'm really glad to see him take a win finally in KCM. It's been a long time coming here. He has dropped in, I think, 3 times already to the KCM. Every single time, like I said before, was a cheese game. You know, early Zealots, early Lings, whatever. He ends up getting picked off super quick and doesn't get to show his stuff, but you can just see his quality in that game. Very high level player, and we're gonna go on to our next one now. It's gonna be Scan versus one of these 3 Zerg players. A very scary matchup, no matter which way you slice it. It's coming up in game number 2. All right, game number 2 here. We've got Somer versus Scan on 76. Very interesting stuff here, and he's gonna send out that drone right away. As you can see, gonna go ahead and take that back natural, the double gas base behind here. Have you seen many games on 76 so far?
I've seen a few. I know they have to take, if he messes up sending this drone down to the natural, it's pretty bad for him. So I think one of the hardest things to execute on this map is just making sure you can drill that drone down there correctly.
There's actually been a change to the map. When the map first came out, it actually wasn't as easy to get the drone over those mineral patches, but they kind of fixed it. They made it a little bit simpler to do, which is definitely much appreciated.
Well, certainly if you fail in executing that, you'll most likely be either extremely behind or just already losing the game at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, to avoid those very unfortunate games, the map designer added some more mineral patches there, made it a little bit simpler, made it a little easier to get over, and looks like Scan gonna take that back base as well. Now, when we first saw 76 being played, not many players were actually taking that back base. It just seemed like they were too afraid to take it, or they didn't think that it was viable. But as this map develops, as players learn this map more and more, it seems like they are committing to taking that back base more and more often.
I'm sure now the map's been figured out a little bit more, and the range of builds which are viable and not viable are now more fully understood. So now that they've kind of figured out the decision trees needed to play on it, maybe they're more comfortable with doing a more economic style on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. And this is kind of how I predicted this map would go a little bit earlier on. When it was first released, I thought that people were going to be taking that back natural all the time. We were going to see Air Terran every single game, you know, 2-port Wraith into Valkyrie, that sort of stuff, in order to counter the super strong 2 or 3 hatch muta that's going to come with having that double gas base in the back. But we haven't really seen it too much thus far, but we may end up getting to see it this game.
One thing interesting is that while there's 2 gases in the back expansion, there's only 6 mineral fields. So I wonder how that skews the build order optimizations much.
Yeah, not only are there only 6 mineral fields, but the mineral fields have less minerals, and the gas geyser has less gas. So this does mine out quite a bit faster. Means that Soma will have to get another base going if he doesn't manage to kill Scan early here. Means the same for Scan. You know, he's not going to have that base rolling forever, but it gives you a great power spike in the early game in order to get those early units out, to get that tech really rolling. And this is excellent. I love this. Soma putting the hatchery, this 3rd hatch, in the back natural. This is one of the things that I found when I was playtesting this map, is that there is a lack of drones. It's hard to get enough drones in that base. Because you can't transfer from the main in order to saturate both the 2 gases and the mineral patches. It's really important to get an extra hatch back there.
Yeah, and plus it actually works out nicely for him with these positions, because he'll be able to rally mutas to reinforce quicker from that position.
Right.
Given that given that Scan's in the top right, so it actually works out really nicely for him.
His sunken colony on the ramp here. This sunken is so powerful. It is incredibly hard to get up this ramp with bio, if that's what you want to go for. A barracks on the way, actually. A second barracks here. Interesting stuff. And an armory as well. So is he actually going to go for Valkyrie? I think it's just straight up Valkyrie, and a lot of turrets are going to be necessary in that back natural to hold on, because Marines are not going to be able to help.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be some variation of the Valkyrie build. I'm curious if he's going to go all the way committed to it and get like 6 to 8 Valkyries of +1 and just like start gunning everything down in the air on the map. I
think that would be a pretty good choice here, just based on the sort of architecture of the map. In this case, there's always going to be use for, you know, drops. That's a very likely tech path that we'll see from Soma if this game goes late. Yeah, there's always going to be used for mutas picking off, you know, different island bases and the like. So Valkyries can be a very good counter to all that. Just picking off overlords, picking off mutas, picking off guardians, whatever Soma has planned here. Really, these are going to be very, very helpful. You know, you can't even run up ramps with lurkers on this map, so it's very unlikely that he's going to go quick lurker here.
Yeah, only like I think Hydras are one of the biggest things that can fit down those ramps.
That's right. And yeah, Hydras are scary, but with this bunker at the top of this very, very small ramp, Hydra's probably not going to be the biggest threat.
No.
Ooh, drone running past the Marine there. Unfortunate stuff for Scan. He would love to have stopped that from starting. Pick off that drone, but he just didn't have it quite in position. Oh, he's going to find it now. Actually not. Unfortunate. He did kill the Chrysalis, though. That is something. Killing that Chrysalis is a bit annoying. It means he can't build a sunken colony on that high ground, and that makes it a lot easier for Marines to get down there later on and actually pick off that base.
Yeah, that's actually pretty significant. It's a really great pick off him. It's really a shame that he didn't deny the drone also putting down the hatchery. That is a big shame, but right now the Valkyrie going to be doing a good job of zoning out the Mutalisk from finding much damage here. I don't think Soma wants to go too deep until he has more Mutas and more Scourge here. I think he's going to swing over to the natural. There is quite a few turrets set up with a floating factory, so it's going to be a fairly hard position to bust if there is Valkyries there, but we got plenty of Scourge to zone out the Valkyries right now. So it's going to be a really good play from Soma, getting on top of the turrets while the Scourge are in position to zone out the Valkyries that are going to come in from the east to support.
Yeah, being very annoying here, pushing away those Valkyries. He doesn't get a kill on either of them, but he kills 2 of the turrets, and now the Valkyries are in position. Scan holding on nicely here, really dealing with that situation very calmly and controlled. You know, he didn't panic, send the vulture or the Valkyries over, then lose a bunch of them. He didn't, you know, panic, throw down a ton of turrets. So he is starting to add those turrets back on, and he got a nice volley there as well. So Soma kind of getting his plans ruined here in the early game, though he does have kind of a backup here with more and more mutas coming out. There's also that base in the bottom left. He's going to be on 4 gas here very, very soon.
Yeah, this is going to be a lot to handle. There's plenty of Scourge to get on each. Oh, Scan tries to get away with the Valkyrie micro, but it got stuck in the animation, so all the Scourge connect. All the Valkyries go down. This is absolutely devastating for Scan, losing all those Valkyries. Once the Valkyrie count gets reset like that, it can be very hard to be able to move out on the map and stabilize. So this is a bit of a tricky situation for Scan to have to navigate here.
He almost hit that critical mass of Valkyries to where he could just gun down the Scourge as they're coming in, but unfortunately losing all the Valkyries before critical mass is achieved. Now he's kind of stuck here, pigeonholed into some sort of an attack with just a ton of Marine medic. That's all he's really got, while Soma continues to batter away at that back natural. Looks like they're still hanging on for now. There's not too many turrets left there, and if he manages to get a few more mutas into that position, he might be able to break that. Ooh, getting a good volley there with that next Valkyrie that pops out. But yeah, he will have to fall back with that. Not going to be able to take an engagement with Scourge, and he can't really move out with this Valkyrie, I don't think, even to support the medic Marine.
Well, Scan bought enough time with that move out to build some turrets and set up his defenses again, so he's not going to take too much economic damage, but at the same time, he's not going to find much damage of himself. It's a bit too risky for him to try and push across the whole map to the bottom left, and having to navigate around this huge 76 in the middle makes it a lot harder to attack bases cross-map as Terran against Zerg. So something to consider here is that it's going to be really hard for Scan to get his infantry to that bottom left corner unchallenged.
+1 is done here for the Valkyries, but their numbers are so low. Here we go. He's coming in. Oh no, he's just gonna have to run. Not even gonna be able to support these Marines, unfortunately. All the Marines get picked off there, not getting a single volley for Scan. And that is a big loss here. You know, he doesn't have that many barracks at this moment. It's gonna take a while to pump out that force and get back out on the map to put on some pressure. And now it's just Soma's game right now. He is going to work here in the main, gonna pick off a supply depot. He's gonna try and get these 2. Oh my god, really good splitting there. Just kills off a ton of Valkyries really quickly.
He must be hotkeying his Scourge on separate hotkeys. Like, he must have like 6 on 2, 4 on 3, and 2 on 4, and so he can just like go 2 click, 3 click, 4 click to quickly split the Scourge that quickly. It's like the only way I can think he's able to target fire down the Valkyries that quickly.
Yeah, that was definitely intentional there by Soma. If you're just flying the Scourge in haphazardly, you're not going to get nearly that many kills, but if you're able to clone Scourge like that, 2 on each is more than enough, and he picks off about 3 or 4 Valkyries once again. How many Valkyries have we lost this game? It feels like a lot.
It feels like 10 at least.
It's kind of crazy. Scans here. He sees the hive is incoming, and that's going to be the next stage here for Soma. Oh!
Good snipes for the Scan there, picking off the Scourge, and now he's starting to get his Valkyrie count again. He's got 4 now. He's building 2 at a time. I think that Scan can find some way to push soon. I just don't think it's going to be quick enough. I just don't see how he's going to play whack-a-mole and kill all these bases around the map that Soma's going to start sprouting up or going into hive tech. It's going to be very difficult for Scan.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a pretty good chunk of Valkyries now. 6 Valkyries, 7 here. Kind of a maybe a break point where the mutas can't really engage anymore. Even the Scourge are going to get gunned down incredibly fast. Scan gets his 3rd base up. That's going to give him a lot more minerals to work with here. So his marine count is going to start to explode, I think. We're going to see a ton of barracks coming down. Oh, do not lose any more Valkyries right now, Scan. This is everything here. You need to get a push going. Oh, diving in once again. A lot of those died before connecting, but he lost 2 more Valkyries once again, lowering that count. It's going to give Soma a better chance of holding on at each of these locations. Can he get out here and push?
Soma needs to be careful not to overextend against the Valkyries. There's a lot of Valkyries right now, so one small mistake from Soma and he could just lose all of his mutas and Scourge for free. So he does need to be very careful. They're trying to engage these Marines, but the Valkyries coming to support. The mutas taking so much damage. They're so heavily bruised right now.
Another Valkyrie does go down out of that pack, but yeah, these mutas are incredibly bruised here, and another couple of Valkyries come up. These Marines are probably going to be able to break the top left. I don't see Soma holding on unless he builds a bunch more sunken colonies right now on the top of that ramp, and I don't think one is even done right now. I think he's starting them right now.
I think he's got 1 and he's adding more, but that might not be enough. Scan needs to go now to break it, though. He might not feel confident enough with the timing of it. I think he should, though.
Oh, he's got to get up here. He can't allow a 5th gas. Oh man, he backs away. That's unfortunate.
This is rough.
Where does he go from here? Every other base has... Oh, actually, bottom left doesn't really have the same defenses. I don't think there's a Nidus down there, and I don't think that... Oh, wait. We got 3 Niduses now. So he must have a Nidus down there as well.
Well, it's just so hard to attack into there, Sam, because he's got to go around the whole middle of the map to get down there, because usually you can just cut across the map, right? But he's got to navigate around this huge 76 in the middle, so it takes a long time for Scan to get down there with his infantry. Oh, needs to be careful here, running right into the Scourge. Soma almost caught a lot of Valkyries there for free with the Scourge.
Looks like he is going to head down towards this bottom left. There is that Defiler, though. Defiler with a couple of links ready to consume. He could throw down a devastating plague here on that group of Valkyries, or he may end up just holding with some Darkstorm. Either way, it's not going to be breakable down here at the bottom left. And Scan, he's just kind of flying around impotently here, not able to do anything. And Soma's just growing and growing. He's going to have Ultras on the field here. He needs to get a low ground hatchery somewhere so they can actually put a Nidus and you know, bring those forward. Oh my god, bunch more Scourge connecting here. I think he picked off maybe 1 or 2 Valkyries, but
the Valkyries came relatively unscathed there.
Yeah, the Valkyrie number is pretty darn high at this point, so engaging with anything in the air is going to be hard for Zerg.
Soma also, I think, went for +2 Carapace on his mutas, so he has got some tank ability in the air. He will be able to have some air superiority if he does keep making Scourge and keep reducing the Valkyrie count. But right now, he can't really afford to do that. He needs to bank his gas for things like Ultralisk, so he may start to rely on the Plague to help deal with any clumps of Valkyries and vessels that he might have. Oh my goodness, 9 vessels! Oh my god, that's a huge bit!
First science vessel going down there, really painful stuff for Scan. You know, he's gonna have a hard time breaking any of these positions already. He needs those irradiates to chew through the defilers and give him at least a chance in this game. Now we're gonna lose more Valkyries as well. Oh man, that really sucks.
Yeah, now that he's reduced those Valkyrie count once again, I think Soma's going to be feeling really comfortable in this match. He's going to be, now that he's got Dark Swarms and can just hold these positions essentially forever. I mean, he doesn't even need a lurker there. He can just hold position a Ling on the ramp with a Dark Swarm. And without a fire bat, Scan is never getting up that ramp.
So many Nidus networks here. It's kind of crazy. You know, 2 in the natural, or 2 in the back natural, I think, and 3 in the main. Maybe one of those is connected to the main. I guess it probably is. But 3 Nidus networks going all over the map here. It's probably hard to remember which one goes where. As long as Scan keeps the base or the actually drops here in the natural. So drop play going to be a thing now, and that is one way to get the ultras to low ground. The other way, of course, is to get a hatchery on the low ground and put a Nidus down. But oh god, he's just letting this command center get hit. Oh, okay, he does pick it up. We'll fly away for now. This is a lot of damage though.
The only thing I would have liked to have seen is him make a single queen and try and infest the command center after him focusing it down. I would love to see more Zergs do that occasionally. Oh, huge drop play coming into the main base of Soma. Scan trying to finish the game now by any means necessary. A huge stream of bio being dropped into the main, but there's just so many Ultralisks pouring out of the Nidus canals. The Dark Soul goes down. Scan managed to kill 2 of the Niduses before the Ultras popped out and started to deal with them. So they did take away some of those connections, but without a follow-up attack, it's not going to help him out too much, especially if Soma just takes his time to reset up those Niduses soon.
Yeah, he needs to send those dropships back home, make sure that they don't die, and get another unload off somewhere else on the map. Otherwise, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. Oh no, bunch of mutas finding these dropships. He loses, I think, 3 out of the 4, and the follow-up attack is just not going to be there. I feel like this is definitely the way you want to deal with this style from Zerg, is get a critical mass of Valkyries and then get some dropships out, start flying around, just keep them alive, you know, start dropping on these different islands. But it just hasn't worked out for Scan here. He does have battlecruiser tech, but I think his back natural gases are probably mined out at this point. We haven't gotten a shot of that for a little while here, but he does have 1200 gas banked up. He can build some battle cruisers, but I don't know if that's going to save him in this game. Another drop here into the natural, more Ultra Ling popping out, probably a Defiler with this as well. Doesn't look like he even needs it. He's just going to push through, kill this base. All of the SCVs are going to have to retreat. All the Marines are going to have to head back home in order to clean this up. He doesn't have anything in the bunker even. Unfortunate stuff here for Scan. Couple battle cruisers, 3 battle cruisers going to work over here in the top left, giving a Scan a possible opening. But since he had to retreat here, he doesn't really have anything with this to push this base in the top left.
No, and the fact that Soma doesn't even have to attack to win this game from this position. He can essentially just maintain the game state, prevent Scan from expanding again, and as long as he doesn't lose more than one of these gas expansions, he should be able to eventually win the game. He's also understands that he's behind on infantry upgrades. Scan already has his +3 weapons for his Marines, whereas Soma only has +2 Carapace, so he's happy to wait for that +3 Carapace on the ground to kick in before he puts any real pressure on Scan by trying to trade more and more of the ground forces.
A few good plagues and some connections with the Scourge mean all of those battle cruisers get picked off. And the Defiler making its way over here to the natural. This may be the tap out point. There's yeah, there it is. Defiler in the natural. Classic way to end the game here as Zerg. And Soma takes game number 2. Scan has been eliminated, but he put up some great fights there in game 1 and game 2. Very interesting play there on 76 as well. I thought he had a good position, but Soma really clutched with the Scourge, constantly reducing that Valkyrie count, just taking bases all over the map. Love to see it. I think that's a pretty good Zerg versus Terran map. What do you think about that map?
I haven't played on it, so I can't say for sure, but it does look pretty good for Zerg versus Terran, especially if you're good at intercepting air units. So if you're pretty confident with your Scourge control, then I would say it's pretty good Zerg versus Terran map, yeah, from what I've seen.
Yeah, it does definitely has produced some pretty good games. I don't like it very much for Terran versus Protoss, but Zerg versus Terran, it seems good. I think Zerg versus Protoss is pretty decent as well. Maybe one of our best kind of crazier maps in the map pool that we've had in recent years, but I digress, guys. We're going to go on to our next game. It's going to be Soma versus either Royal or Light. That's coming up next, game number 3. Okay, I said it was going to be either Royal or Light, but I'm sorry. It is a Protoss coming out next. Bisu going to be spawning here in the bottom right-hand corner. The red Protoss top center is going to be Soma, the blue Zerg player. And did you happen to catch the finals of last season?
Oh, the finals of last KCM? I don't think so.
It was a fantastic Protoss versus Zerg. Definitely check that out if you haven't already, guys. These two races were neck and neck the entire season in the last KCM, and finally came down to the very last game in the finals, and I won't spoil the result, but it was really hype. So definitely looking forward to some more great PvZ games here in this season. Starting out our first PvZ of the season, Soma versus Bisu. That's a pretty good matchup.
And Bisu gonna be going for the gateway expand, whereas Soma opting for the 11 hatch. So gonna have to be careful not to lose any drones here, because just one loss of a drone is enough to make this build completely worthless. So hopefully he doesn't lose a single drone against this gateway opening from Bisu.
Yeah, the rush distances here are not the longest. He's gonna be able to get that zealot across the map pretty darn quick. There's the spawning pool on the way here, but he didn't scout right after his hatcheries, so, and he's actually scouting in the wrong direction, I think, because that probe came in from the left side. He's gonna go down towards the bottom left. Could be in a bit of trouble here.
Yeah, Soma also tried to get the chase micro on the probe, but was slightly too delayed in getting behind it, so could have put a lot of damage on that probe before it got into the main base had he managed to get behind it quick enough. Unfortunately, wasn't able to do so, so BC's probe going to be super annoying and basically stay alive for a long time and help the Zealot out with the killing of the Lings when they finally do come out. It takes just 2 hits from a Zealot and a probe hitting the Ling to kill it, so basically giving the Zealot a +1 upgrade in a form of a simulation from the probe's particle beam helping out.
Yeah, and Soma did see those that first Zealot coming across the map with the Overlord. He knows that this is coming, so he's gonna be able... Oh! He lost the drone!
Beautiful play from Bisu. It was a great drone drill from Soma, but Bisu did such a good job of getting his Zealot unstuck whilst also focusing down a specific drone. It's phenomenal micro from Bisu there, and going to be hiding the Zealot behind the mineral patch, so going to be super annoying. Soma does have to get onto all 3 sides of this Zealot quickly if he wants to avoid losing any more drones. He's going to try and get on top of one more drone, but unable to get it. Still a huge pick off from Bisu, just killing that one drone and also pulling the other drones off of mining for a little bit. It was a huge win for Bisu there.
A lot of Lings have been produced here as well, and back at home, Bisu has the forge done. He's got the cannon on the way. He's going to be safe here, I think, and a good advantage to start things off. More Lings actually being produced for Soma. Maybe he wants to go for some sort of bust. I'm not sure. We don't have anything being researched here. He's actually blocked the main with those 2 Lings. He hasn't started his lair. He hasn't started his speed as far as I know. Actually,
I think Soma was just trying to force probes off the line and maybe a second cannon being warped in. I don't think he had any intention of busting there.
We'll have to see what pops out of these eggs. Okay, it's a full round of drones. There's not going to be any sort of Ling all in here. Just going to track down this probe and probably go into a Hydra Den relatively soon. That 3rd base finally going to go down. I'm surprised we didn't see an earlier 3rd here from Soma.
Yeah, I guess he was a bit concerned about the early game scenario. He wanted to also keep his options open for counterattack if BC was being a little bit greedy, maybe.
Yeah, but now he's got quite a late 3rd. It's actually at the mineral expansion. Surprise again there, taking that base rather than the base over at the 3 o'clock, the one that is on high ground, which is much more frequently taken by the Zerg players on this map. But you know, Soma, he can make it work, I'm sure. He's definitely practiced here on this map quite a bit. It is an ASL map as well, but go ahead.
Well, Soma's adjustment here is to make 4 hatcheries without mining gas and then go back to mining gas. So we took drones off gas, squeezed out some macro hatcheries, starting to get our tech and infrastructure buildings down, and then we went back to mining gas. So even though Soma had a bit of a rough start, he has kind of optimized and adjusted his build accordingly. Going to be going up to a very fast 4 hatchery production to try and compensate.
Yeah, you're absolutely right there. And more cannons coming up here, so Bisu getting a bit of a misread here. His Stargate is just finished up now. He doesn't have the vision on the map that he needs here in order to know that he doesn't actually need this many cannons. So, you know, a bit of a waste of money there, and more things going in someone's favor to bring him back into this game. I mean, not that he was out at all, but just giving him back some of this advantage.
One thing to note, saying is that he did a great job of keeping 2 lings back to keep the probe out of the main base, which means that Bisu was unable to confirm the lair timing, so he had no idea this was coming. So as far as he was concerned, this could have been like maybe a 2-hatch mutant. He wanted to like kind of hedge his bets just in case there was some kind of weird cheesiness going to be coming out of Soma as a response. Instead, it's going to be more of a 4-hatch Hydra play into 5-hatch production. So initially, Bisu's going to be worried about potential Hydra bust as well. So now that he realizes that's not the case, he's going to be putting on the pressure. Meanwhile, Soma probably going to go up into 6-hatchery Hydra production.
Yes, a lot of hatcheries here. Not a lot of tech though. I think, what do we see the layer in the main? I think we did see that morphing.
He saw the lair morphing, but he knows now he knows the lair was very late, so he understands what he's up against.
Yeah, very late layer. Someone making the right adjustments here. He's got some Hydras in the middle map, but he's not actually putting on that pressure just yet. Another cannon morphing in here, warping in here at the natural. Just keeping all of his overlords alive. Very difficult feat to do against someone of the quality of Bisu, who's got that micro. Always seems to find damage with his Corsairs, but so far none have gone down here on the side of Soma.
And this is one of the issues with going for early hatchery production and delaying your lair, is you do have to be really on top of protecting your overlords with the initial Hydra, because someone that is good with their Corsairs might be able to run circles around you. At the very least, keep your Hydras pinned down where he wants them while he tries to move out onto the map.
And Zealot's now moving out here. He's gonna catch one. Oh, that was a pretty good surround. Doesn't manage to trap the Zealot though. Will get away there. And the speed should be finishing up here momentarily. +1 upgrade is on the way as well. Evolution Chamber getting a nice little Sim City going here in the top right, but it doesn't look that strong at the moment. I think Bisu could get in here with +1 in speed.
Yeah, but I think Soma has just barely enough critical mass of Hydras to pincer the Zealots were he to commit. So I think that there's just barely enough production for Bisu to identify that he needs to turn around. I think he was mainly just trying to make sure that there was no drones being manufactured during that period, and wanted to make sure that it was all units, because he didn't want Soma to get away with any kind of like greedy drone cycles at this point in the game.
All right, we're having Hydras moving up towards the natural here. The Templar, I do not think are finished. There's one Templar popping out. Do we have Storm though? This could be a pre-storm timing. Gonna dive on top of the cannons here. 2 are gonna go down very, very quickly. Zealots in the flank, trying to buy time here for the Storm to come down. Not the greatest engagement with these Zealots, but he is getting on top of the Hydra, buying some time. It looks like they're all gonna get cleaned up, and Soma can get back to work on this wall.
I don't think he should be pushing this issue any further. Soma just needs to contain here. This is just slightly too much to bust. Like 4 cannons and Storm is just slightly too much to bust at this phase of the game. He hasn't quite got enough. He could, if he wanted to, try to bait out some Storms and slowly whittle down the forces while maybe taking out the Forge, but I don't think he has enough forces to bust at this point, so I think we're going to see it contain instead.
Ooh, another Storm there is forced out. I think he's got one more maybe, and the Zealots are going to come forward too. There we go, one last Storm, but it's not the greatest, and I think Soma can hold here. No, he is going to have to fall back as the Zealots push forward. A bunch of drones heading up here to the front. Those need to be sent back home. You can see Soma changing his rally. It looked like he was actually thinking about doing a contain by sending his rallies to that position, but now he's in full retreat. He's going to have to go with plan B here. You get into Lurker, maybe get a 4th base going.
Bisu's going to go straight up to like 8 gateway production, so he's going to be able to have the option to both be aggressive and do more timing attacks, while also being safe to take his 3rd soon. Soma's still actually only on 5 hatchery worth of production, so hasn't actually squeezed out that many drones. Yeah, he's looking a little light on drones actually, Soma is. I think he's only just now starting to drone up, so he's a little bit light on production up until this point, so I don't think that's why we haven't seen much of a critical mass of Hydras up until this point. He was kind of restricted to that 5 hatchery production for quite a while.
Yeah, I feel like if he had not had, or if Bisu didn't have so many Zealots ready to engage during that fight, maybe someone could have broken through with the pre-storm timing, but as it stands, he didn't manage to get in there, and he's really committed to a ton of Hydras without that. Oh, you get the Forge, okay.
He denied the +1 armor.
No +1 armor here for Bisu. He's coming across the map though with a pretty scary push. 1 Archon, a bunch of Zealots, and 3 Templar, each with a Storm. Ready to take an engagement here. Getting behind these hatcheries is a pretty good SimCity, but it doesn't matter. Once the Templar are here, he's just going to dive forward right on top of these. He knows he's got to pick these off as quickly as possible, and he gets to. He limits the number of storms here. One of those storms did get cast, and that Templar is out of energy. Gonna just go ahead and send that back home. Good micro here from Bisu to keep on top of this. Uh-oh, Soma gonna lose drones at the 3rd base. It was a good snipe, but I think there's just barely not enough here to hold on.
Yeah, Soma took a little bit of critical damage there. He lost a little bit too many of his drones. Now he's in a bit of an issue because he's thinking, do I make units to defend or do I make drones to like stabilize my economy? And neither are the right choice in the long term. Right now he needs to make units to clear this up. Great lurker block on the little bridge there, cutting off the forces from Mia to connect with the Hydras, but Soma's still in a really bad position here because he needs to make drones so badly, but he's also at risk of dying, so he needs to be really careful navigating the choice between when to make units and when to make drones.
If he's caught making drones here, he could just get completely overwhelmed. There's also going to be a drop of DTs into the main base. He does not have the Overlord spread there, so could end up getting completely caught off by surprise over in the main base, and I think he will end up losing a lot here. He's very under pressure at this moment. You know, Bisu has that lead. He's killed a lot of drones. Someone's going to be looking for ways to get back into this, but he may not end up noticing this DT slipping into the main. Here we go. Kills going down already. There, he sees it already. Wow, very good reaction by Soma. Only losing about 2-3 drones to that DT there. It is still a lot of damage, but not nearly as bad as it could have been. Oh god, is there a Templar? Oh my god!
That's a lot of drones.
That's a lot of kills, and I think Soma's just about out of this game. What can he do to come back here? It's a long shot, but he's gonna try and attack this 3rd base with a bunch of lurkers and some Hydras. Try to make something happen, a miracle.
Yeah, but essentially this is a great win for Bisu. He's now got the Zerg army completely out of position. He doesn't actually need the 3rd base right now. He's cool on 2-base production for at least a few more minutes, so Bisu's in a really good spot, and there's not much production left for Soma, and he's desperately trying to storm dodge and squeeze out whatever value he can with what little he does have, but it's not a lot. There's only a few Hydras here and a few lurkers to try and pepper down. Getting some High Templar snipes, and some of the High Templars are on fairly low energy, but already the Dragoon count's starting to swell, and once he starts getting a high enough Dragoon count, look at all those Dragoons. There's just no way Soma can keep up with this. And that DT in the main base going to get even more kills soon.
DT going to work once again as he pushes across the map. This is a great opportunity for Bisu to get a ton of kills because Soma is heavily distracted at this moment. Yeah, you can see he's not paying attention to this main. Oh, he actually sees it now. Surprisingly, not going to lose a whole lot, but I don't think he can hold this push, even if he manages to get rid of this DT.
There's just no way. It's just too much Protoss. There's almost as many Dragoons as there are Hydras. There's no surface area for the Zerg to take advantage of. GG.
All right. Soma taps out. He tried to go for the observer there. You can see he was trying to make plays. That's a sign of a great player. Just realizing, what he needs to get done in order to hold on. If he just killed that observer, maybe he could have stayed alive for another minute or two. But unfortunately, that doesn't go down, and Bisu pushes in for the win. An excellent game from Bisu, doing everything right there. Holding on against that aggression, getting that early drone, getting that early advantage, and snowballing that to a win. Now we're going to go on to our 4th game of the night here. It's going to be Bisu, either against Royal or Light. That's coming up next. Okay, moving on to our next match here. Match number 4. We got Bisu in the bottom left-hand corner, Royal in the top left. This is Retro. And should be a great match here. The positions are pretty good here for Royal. He's going to be able to take his 3rd base up there at the 12 o'clock. be a little bit rough if the positions were reversed.
Yeah, if the positions were reversed, taking your natural third would be pretty awkward as Terran, unless you wanted to kind of be aggressive and expand behind the push. But luckily for Royal, he's not going to have to worry about taking an awkward third. Going to be able to take 12 o'clock and expand away from Bisu. And Bisu is not sending a probe to scout or make a gateway, so we're going to be seeing probably a Nexus first from him. Whereas Royal throwing down the barracks in base, and I imagine taking a gas on 11, yes. So nothing unusual from Royal, but the Nexus first is a pretty greedy from Bisu.
Let's see if Royal scouts this early on. You might want to put on some marine pressure here, but it's a fairly long rush distance. And probably have to go through the 9 o'clock there in order to get over to the Protoss base, and I don't know if he's going to scout in this direction. Yeah, it looks like he's going to scout towards the top right and not see this.
And interestingly, Bisu's cross map scouting. I wonder if the SCV will kiss the drone, kiss the probe at an interesting time, and if that will help him figure out where this Protoss is located. Although he's not quite going to see the probe in time, so I don't think he will quite ascertain the direction of Bisu. This might throw Royal off completely, actually. The timing of that probe meeting the SCV might have actually, convinced Royal that he was probably in the bottom right. So Royal's actually going to scout this quite delayed.
Yeah, this is a little bit rough. Bisu had that trailing vision and was able to ascertain where the SCV was coming, which direction the SCV had come from, whereas Royal was not able to get that information. Now he's going to scout the bottom right. See nothing. He's going to go ahead and scout the bottom left and see that he is in a negative economic position. He's behind at this moment, and he's going to have to find some way to work his way back into this game, whether that be through Vulture Harass, maybe a drop, maybe a super quick command center after this. It's gonna have to be a game from behind here for Royal.
Yeah, it's not going to be too bad for Royal. Bisu did opt for the very safe variant of getting the 2 gateways and cutting a little bit on pro production, so he's not going to be super far behind in work account. So if he can just get this command center started and keep his work account producing 1 at a time, he actually won't be too far behind economically, at least nowhere near as much as he would be if Bisu was a lot more greedy and just got like a 1 gateway with a core follow-up. But with the early 2 gates, I'm not sure if he's producing any zealots. He might try and get a little bit more greedy and not have to produce 2 zealots here, but he may feel like he needs to, just to prevent any kind of a bust that might be coming out of Royal as a response to this 12 Nexus. The Vulture is out on the map already, going to be scooping up 1 probe kill at least.
Yeah, getting just that 1 probe kill. 1 zealot was produced, so there you have your answer. Going to be 2 Dragoons popping out here momentarily. The probe count, very good what you're saying there, for sure. Getting the 2 gateways here does slow things down a little bit, but the position here is still pretty good. He's got the block at the front. That Vulture's not going to get in. We're going to have a range coming up here pretty soon as well, and Bisu should be feeling pretty good here at this point.
Yeah, he did the safe variant, but he only made 1 zealot, so he kind of got a little bit greedy, even though he went for the safer option. So Bisu optimizing as he goes. Vulture's still out on the map while Bisu is pushing. So if Royal tries to slip in here, maybe he'll find some damage. You usually don't want to lose this first Vulture, though, even if you could get a couple of probes. See Royal not even trying to squeeze past that first Dragoon. If there's any form of resistance, he's going to pull right back, and the Zealot pokes forward to check what's going on and sees the bunker and tank already in position to defend any onslaught that he could launch early game. So Bisu not going to be able to put on any pressure just yet.
Yeah, definitely keeping that alive for the mines. Super important. We're going to be able to throw down mines with this, possibly behind these dragons. Where is he going with this, actually? Going back towards the natural.
That's a mistake. I think that's a mistake.
He does confirm the position of that army, but you really want to keep this alive for mines. Get 1 down at the 6 o'clock, maybe get 1 down at the bottom right. Put 1, over between the natural and 3rd base here for Bisu. Bisu grabbing that Nexus now. As he transitions into robo play, But yeah, it looks like those mines are going to come down. Will have to be cleared out by Bisu if he wants to take either of those bases. What do you think about this base in the center left for Bisu? Expanding towards the Terran.
Yeah, it's pretty gutsy. Maybe he feels really confident in his early economic lead that he'll be able to slow down and deal with any push that Royal decides to do. So if he did go for that like early 4-fact, he'd still be able to squash it maybe. He can get his Reavers out on time if that's the tech choice that he's going to go with.
Okay, we may end up seeing a bunch more gateways added on here if he wants to, you know, crush an army coming to kill that that third base. Then he's gonna need a lot of units. And here comes Royal already starting to push out. He's gonna find 2 Dragoons and a single Zealot, force them back up this ramp, and this is nice. I mean, he's gonna be able to siege up on this low ground. It'll be hard to hold. Yeah, this is gonna be rough.
I'm not too sure about Bisu taking this base, honestly, because there's no way he can get Reavers out in time. He can't get, like, a shuttle with Zealots in case Royal gets a fortified position in time. It's a really bit of a gamble from Bisu taking this base here, and it seems like Royal's going to make him pay for it. He's got a great position at the moment, picking off a couple of Dragoons off to the side while laying down some mines and putting the hurt on this Nexus. I think he actually will kill it. I don't think Bisu's going to dare challenge that position.
A little bit crazy to try and challenge that now. And the tanks are even going to move forward. This could be an overextension here. He's used a lot of the mines. He does have siege mode. Oh boy, this is scary here.
Bad for Bisu right now. Needs to be careful. But both players need to be careful right now. Yeah, right now, there's enough tanks that Royal can just siege up and chill. But for a second there, he was being a little bit too aggressive. And Bisu himself deciding to just try and go for it and get on top of the tanks. But there was enough mines to repel that. And Royal just going to squash all of those Dragoons. And that's going to be a trigger for Royal to keep pushing now. I think Bisu made a big misplay by trying to commit into those tanks there. But I guess maybe he felt like he had to before Royal could reinforce.
I wonder, the 3 factory attack here, so powerful against the build that Bisu decided to go for. Getting that super early third and getting Reaver at the same time. Just no Reaver out here in time to defend. And yeah, this 4 gates are producing, but Bisu is very, very close to getting knocked out of this game. He's going to be supply blocked here as soon as this pylon goes down. He should have a Reaver out on the map now, but what does he do with it? Does he go across the map and try to like counterattack or something? And maybe hope that, you know, Royal doesn't have turrets in time and that most of his units are across the map? Or does he actually try to break this push? It looks like he's coming out to break it.
Yeah, try and break it. I don't know if it's going to be enough though, saying there's already turrets in position. There's already a nice sizable amount of minefields. Taking out some of the Dragoons. Reaver taking also some damage. Does get a Scarab shot off and tries to dive in onto the tanks and shuffles forward to avoid his GG.
Ooh, a rough loss there for Bisu. Trying to fly in and drop that Reaver one last time. Get a few more kills, but tanks all survive. I think he even messed up there with that first shot. He missed the first shot on the Reaver. I had to drop again to get the second shot off. Ah, man. Sad to see Bisu go down like that, but a good push by Royal. Very well executed. And we're going to go on to our next game here now with Bisu eliminated. Only 1 Protoss player remains. We're going to see Royal versus Queen or Sulky. It's coming up next. Queen going to be sent out here for the Zerg squad to try and take down Royal on Blue Storm. He spawned in the bottom left-hand corner, Royal in the top right. This is another cool map. It's been around for a very long time. It's not in the ASL map pool right now, but it's exclusively in the KCM map pool. We needed an extra map because sometimes we do go to 9 games in a series. Looks like Royal setting up to get a little wall in here to start things off and an early pull for Queen.
Yeah, Blue Storm is a great map. Because of this like tiny little choke, it has very short rush distance. Now you can block that with say a worker or something to try and help shut down a rush, but generally speaking, you want to go pull first as Zerg and wall in as Terran. Now Royal did get the top right position, which means his barracks is actually kind of spitting his Marines out on the wrong side of the wall. So now that Queen's gone 9 pull, he can put pressure on this wall, and it'd be very difficult for Royal to keep producing Marines because Queen's going to be able to pick off the Marines as they pop out on the outside of the wall. So Royal's going to have to build a Marine and get it on the inside of the wall as soon as possible, and he'll likely go mech. Yeah, he's taking his gas. He'll likely even go mech because it'd be very hard for him to keep producing Marines off that barracks if the Lings just keep hitting the Marines as they pop out one at a time.
Yeah, he will be getting that gas. We'll have to see what variation of mech he ends up going. There's so many different ones now that the Terrans have worked out that can actually work in a mid game. Whether this will be, you know, just a few vultures to start and then back into bio. We could see a few vultures into Goliath. We could see bio or vultures into bio, and then oh my gosh, is he gonna try and slip out vultures here? A very sneaky play from Royal. I think he's gonna lift this up and land it on the high ground there outside of his main base and try to send vultures in when Queen's not expecting.
That's exactly what he's going to do, Sen. It's a great way to play on a map like this. There's a few maps like this. Heartbreak Ridge is another one where you can kind of do these sort of like creative early openers to try and like take advantage of the map's geography. Queen going to be putting a lot of pressure on this supply depot, pulling the Lings back one at a time as they take damage from the Marine to force out as large of a repair bill as possible for Royal to have to deal with to try and slow down his early mineral optimization.
Yeah, but he's not going to get any damage done with those Lings aside from that repair. Oh, he's sending Lings out though everywhere. I really like this from Queen. You know, he's getting just crossing off any possibilities here by spreading these out. Ooh, Two-Port Wraith gonna be the follow-up. The Royal gonna land this factory here, and actually, even though the Lings are well spread all over the map, he didn't check the 12 o'clock base, and that's exactly where Royal is going to be making these vultures. He has a creep colony on the way, so he might not take too much damage from this, but the Two-Port Wraith is going to be a real curveball here for Queen.
But yeah, if he doesn't make a Hydralisk den, if he just relies on this Lings and Sunkens thinking that he just needs to deal with a couple of vultures and that's it, he's in big trouble. He needs a Hydralisk den and like 5 to 6 Hydras before he relies on this Spire. Otherwise he could just like lose a lot of Overlords and a lot of drones quickly. Spire's only just now about to start, and this could be really bad for Queen if he doesn't identify this soon.
One way that you can deal with this is to go for early burrow. Sometimes we've seen that at the pro level work out pretty well. You know, you start to lose some drones. You know, you're gonna lose overlords for sure, but if you can burrow your drones when the wraiths come in and not lose any of them, then you can still have a good follow up with the Spire play with the Mutas popping out. An evolution chamber on the way. Very interesting stuff.
Spores. He needs spores, yeah. If he hasn't got the Hydralisk, then he needs spores, so it's going to be the spore option, which I actually really like. I like going spores against Two-Port Wraith. I think it's really safe. And it also allows him a lot more counterattack options, so I think this is a great idea. He's going to be trying to micro away one drone at a time, also trying to morph them into buildings like extractors or creep colonies to save their HP if possible.
2 drones so far. He's gonna get another one here in a second. Trying to micro those away, but not quite on time there. There's the first spore about to finish up. Can he kill this Overlord before it pops? No. He's not gonna get that. Oh, wait a second. He dives in anyway.
They might be paper planes. Oh, you know, this is a huge mistake from Royal, though.
Right-clicking the Wraiths away, but they end up getting aggroed back into the spore. He loses a spore for free, or excuse me, a Wraith for free.
They are like paper planes. They take maximal damage from all sources, and they die like flies, but they do have a lot of damage, and you can micro them exceptionally well, much like Mutas, and they have more range than Mutas, so in the perfect hands, they can be the ideal unit, but it's so easy to go so wrong so fast, and he did lose one of those Wraiths already. Scourge trying to get out on the map for Queen to intercept this one Wraith that's already low HP. He knows it took a few spore hits, so only on 60 HP is this Wraith, so only just one more Scourge will finish it off.
And really nice play there by Queen to intercept that. It looks like he will end up using Cloak and just push everything away here. 4 Wraiths on the field now. He managed to kill off 2 Overlords, so severely supply blocking Queen there for a little bit. Now he's fixed that. He's remedied that situation, but but he's still got to deal with these Wraiths coming in to try and snipe some drones.
Yeah, he can't mine. The Wraiths have such long range that there's just no way that Spore can protect his drones. So essentially, that's a gas expansion for as long as that the Wraiths have air superiority.
Trying to pick off a drone here. He does get one. Queen limping a little bit in this game. He has a single Mutalisk out at this point. He needs to start to pump that up. But you can see, like you were saying, it's a gas base right now. There's only 150 minerals in the bank for Queen, and he just spent it. Its minerals are going up very, very slowly, and he's got almost 500 gas waiting at this moment. He really needs to get some mineral mining going here.
Yeah, he's going to start mining his minerals now, but he was hesitating for a long time to go back to mining those mineral patches because he doesn't know exactly where the Wraiths are. They can just sweep in at any moment and start picking off more Overlords and more drones. So right now, Queen's just going to be turtling and squeezing out what little he can to try and boost up his economy. Meanwhile, Royal going to be taking his own expansion, rocketing ahead in supply against Queen with a huge Wraith count to boot, already up to 8 Wraiths in his fleet.
8 Wraiths are very scary. How many Wraiths does it take to one-shot a Muta? I can't remember. Is it a full 11 or 10?
It might be 11.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that.
I'm not sure about if the health regeneration of the Muta comes into play if the volley doesn't synchronize, because the Mutas will regenerate a HP point as well if the shots don't land at the same time.
Regardless, very, very scary having this many Wraiths out. If you, for a second, don't have detection with that army, with those Mutas, they can just run you down all the way across the map, kill every single one. You got to be very careful moving out like this. Look at, he's moving out and his Overlords are trailing behind. If the Wraiths came in and killed those 2 Overlords, they could just chase down every single Muta here, and it would be an absolute slaughter. So he definitely has to be careful with how he's moving around the map here. But as it stands, 3 Overlords with this big group of Muta. He looks like he wants to come in and try to break Royal here, take a full-on engagement in the main. The Cloak Wraiths are coming up. The Overlords are just out of range. He's going to bring it forward now. Not going to get the connections he needs with those Scourge, but he's cleared out a little spot here, a little area to micro in that bottom right hand corner of the main, and Royal pushes everything back. Nice snipe on the Overlord.
Yeah, beautiful micro from Royal. Now, Wraiths, if microed correctly, will out micro Mutas all day long, but one small mistake from the Wraiths and Queen can get on top of them and volley them really hard. So as long as Royal keeps executing perfectly like he is right now, he will dominate the air, but needs to be really careful he doesn't overstep his limits with these Wraiths, because they are like paper planes, essentially flying paper tigers in the sky. These are.
Looks like Queen using this area he's carved out in the main base to pick off quite a few SCVs. He's going to lose all of his Overlords though, and will be forced to retreat for now. These Mutas going around towards the natural. A good hold thus far by Royal, but his Wraiths have taken quite a bit of damage. He's lost a couple of them, and he's managed to supply block Queen, but this attack is not over yet.
Queen's doing a great job of limiting the economic of the Terran. He's trading about as well as can be against someone that's microing his race this good as well. Usually you do not have to worry about someone that's able to micro race this well. Not many Terrans can handle doing this kind of level of micro this consistently for this long. So right now Royal showing his pedigree a little bit by running circles around Queen, but I'm sure Queen wants to get the better of him soon, and will try and pounce in the main base once again, trying to get on top of these Wraiths that now have such low energy. Queen has been basically doing the equivalent of forcing stims by forcing him to need to cloak over and over again, and has run his energy dry. So now I'm going to be trying to ramp up the pressure a little bit and see if we can keep sniping SCVs and keep sniping more Wraiths.
Taking a lot of free shots here. I think like getting maybe 1 shot off on those Wraiths to every 3 shots that Royal managed to get on the Mutas. The Royal just doing a fantastic job there in the main. He forces Queen back once again. Queen gonna rotate here, get a few more kills on some SCVs, getting a base in the top left hand corner as well during all of this madness. We'll see if Queen has a transition point at some point and where he wants to go with this build.
Yeah, he definitely needs to be taking this third any later, and I feel like it'll be too much. There is now a science vessel out, so unless that science vessel gets sniped, he is kind of putting these mutalisks on the clock. So Queen gonna have to find some damage very soon or transition, and I think he's able to do both right now. He's getting enough damage done while also getting his tech online and getting this third base. So not a bad position for Queen, I would say. But still not a great one either. Royal's done such a good job of microing these Wraiths. He's prevented Queen from snowballing out of control with this muta pressure.
Wraith number is getting pretty low here. I think we're at 5 to 6 Wraiths at this point. Not the biggest threat, but they still do very well when camping over top of these Marines here. You know, the Mutalisks really want to dive in and kill as many Marines as possible, but with the Wraiths continually microing over top of them, just falling back when the Mutas come forward, and then chasing and shooting volleys here as the Mutalisks try to run away. They're taking a lot more damage than they regularly would from just a pure Bioforce.
Yeah, I think Queen has like kind of demonstrated why most people wouldn't want to go Wraiths usually, because even with exceptional Wraith micro, you can see how much Royal's having to work for this. Ooh, beautiful Irradiate. Queen able to slide that out eventually, but did take a little bit of bruising. Want to be able to get those Irradiates out as quickly as possible. For every second that radiates in the pack of Muta, it gets worse and worse for the Zerg, so usually sometimes you'll even hotkey your Mutas on separate groups so that you can quickly split them up and grab the one that's irradiated or even kill it yourself.
And we do have a transition here for Queen as the Hydra's Den on the way. Base in the top left is mining gas, so he's got that income rolling on in now. Still using these Mutalisks, still producing Mutalisks. Being here on quite a large group of them. But the Marines are just about ready to move out. This is a very tough spot to move out with, but combined with the Irradiate here, Royal does manage to make it through that tight little area. Another Irradiate goes down, but beautiful move by Queen to throw the damaged Mutalisk on top of, or the irradiated Mutalisk on top of the Marines, just to add that extra bit of splash damage and clean up those Marines.
That's a great play from Queen. I would like to see Royal start to try and put on a little bit of pressure. He needs to make something work soon. He's got 4 vessels now. He still has some Wraith support. He's got some bio. He needs to be forcing out a little bit of map presence now. He can't stay defending all game long. I think it's good that he's now starting to identify that, and he is actually moving out. Oh my god, that's a huge bait!
One vessel goes down there in a flurry of activity. The Mutalisks diving in, do not take too much damage from the Marines and medics there, but he doesn't have enough anymore to hold on. He needs these sunken colonies to finish. Royal just gonna stim up and make a move now, running in right away. Oh, another vessel goes down there. Great play with the Scourge. Another one goes down. Oh god, he's got to make this work right here, right now. Otherwise, Royal's going to be in such a bad position. Killing off a ton of drones here. GG, he does it. Wow, Royal.
Coming from Royal. Oh my god.
Fantastic move out there. If he had just been a few seconds later, those Sunkens would have finished and would have been impossible to break through that position. But Queen, really great pickups on the science vessels. If only he'd had those Sunkens a little bit quicker, his position would have been fantastic. Really, both players showing amazing micro in that game. And another Zerg player has been removed from the equation. Royal on a killing spree now. It's going to be him versus Best coming up. The final Protoss player in the squad. We'll see if he can stop Royal from going on a rampage here. That's coming right up. Here we are in match number 6. It's going to be Best versus Royal. Best spawning here in the bottom right hand corner. Up in the top left, it is Royal. Of course, this is Dark Origin. One of the coolest new 2-player maps that we have. Hasn't been placed on the ladder just yet, but I hope they put this one out on the ladder at some point.
Yeah, I really like the design of it. I was a bit unsure of it at first, but I really like how you can kind of defend your third with in the middle of the map. These like high ground plateaus at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock at the 4th base location. and you can hit these bases in the middle from the center of the map. So whoever kind of has central control of the map tends to dictate the pace of the game. So definitely map control extremely important on this map.
Yeah, it can be very difficult to gain that map control with the bridges going towards each natural. There are other ways to get around though. You can go around the back of your own main. There's a temple back there plus some stacked mineral patches. I believe they actually do have money in those stacks, so you can't just mine it out with a single worker, but if you bring a few around, I think it's like 4 or 5 returns it takes to actually get rid of that. It can be opened up and does lead to some kind of cheesy play, although we haven't really seen that on this map a lot. A lot of players just kind of opting to go for the regular kind of more standard play on this map. It does seem to be very balanced and very good overall. It reminds me a lot of Destination, actually. Do you get that vibe?
A little bit.
I think Destination, one of the biggest problems was the natural base. It was very hard to wall off in certain matchups, just because of the structure. And this one has a much more of a standard natural entrance here, where you can kind of wall things off, and then instead of having bridges going to the middle of the map right outside your natural, you do have a path to kind of a easier to take third base, which makes me really like this map.
Yeah, interestingly enough, we've got a gas steal from Best. Was nicely timed to block the 11 gas from Royal with a forward gateway to put on some zealot pressure. Royal countered that with an engineering blade block. One thing I really liked was that Royal put a lot of SCVs on killing that gas. I've seen Light put like 2 SCVs on killing it, but Royal put 3 and then 4 SCVs to kill that gas. So he really wants to get that out as soon as possible. I don't think he was too happy about getting gas stolen there.
Yeah, but the engineering bay does slow down the Protoss here quite a bit. You had to keep that zealot back at home as well to try and add the DPS there. So Royal's not going to be feeling too bad at this point. He's got the bunker just about to finish. There's a couple of zealots out on the map here, but running by the bunker is a little bit scary at this point. You're going to lose a lot of health on these zealots. Maybe he wants to try it though. Here we go.
He might try and do a little run by. Yeah, Royal knows that that's a possibility. He has units on the ramp to block if needed. Looks like Best instead wants to jostle for position by going behind the minerals and force an unload of the bunker to create some volatility here. Royal then retreating back to the bunker and blocking the ramp with the SCVs, and Best trying to get on top of the SCVs to kill them and then try and get a run by up the ramp. And the beautiful Rax block going to be hovering over the SCV that's on hold position underneath to stop the Zealots being able to target that down. Now trying to retreat and get out, but Royal trying to bully down the Zealots and shave off as much HP as he can on the retreat before finally putting down his command center.
A good back and forth here in the early game. Best gonna retreat for now. Factory on the way here, and command center and Nexus coming up. Seems like nobody taking any serious damage. We're gonna go into a normal game from this position. I think Royal dealing with what could have been a really nasty kind of early pressure here from Best, but maneuvering through it very professionally, very calmly here, and getting himself into a better position.
Yeah, one thing to note is that Royal is very good at being active at targeting down the Zealots when they tried to move into position. For example, if he had just kept those Marines in the bunker there, Best could have shifted the Zealots all the way around the back of the mineral fields and then did a run by into the main. But Royal was happy to hunt down the Zealots and shoot them while they were in transit, so Best kept having to retreat out of that position. So really good play from Royal, understanding the game state.
Absolutely. Got to be very careful with those Marines as well. Using A-click is tempting with any unit when you're trying to, chase down another unit, but with the Marines, they tend to bug out when you use A-click. And that forces you to hit stop position before they'll move again. They just kind of stand there, not really doing anything. But Royal, you can see his class just absolutely controlling his units perfectly there. Getting the SCVs in front to block, and always getting the Marines firing whenever possible.
Yeah, I really like Royal's play so far. BCU's going to be sending out a probe on the map, I'm assuming, to take a third Nexus at this 4th base location, unless that's just a spotter pylon. I think it actually is a spotter pylon. I don't think he's intending to expand anytime soon. I think he's just trying to set up something to catch any potential vulture drop play later on.
A lot of units coming across the map here for Best. Does he actually want to try and break or something? What's the plan here? He does have those extra zealots. They're not going to have much utility here. Aside from tanking damage, there's 3 of them coming up to the front here. Vulture manages to slip out. Could be a problem for Best going forward here, but 2 tanks plus a bunker is a little bit scary. Yeah, this is just 3 Dragoons, not enough to 2 volley. Oh, he does get 1 tank though. Royal not pulling that tank back, unfortunately. Trades 1 tank for 1 Dragoon. Always a good move for the Protoss player.
Oh, that's an exceptional trade, yeah. I thought for a second there that Best was kind of overstepping his bounds, but he had the Zealots in position there to kind of correct the... Ooh. Best really liking trying to abuse this little corner here, because he understands that the bunker is very deep, so there is a possibility to snipe SCVs and such before the siege mode comes online.
And Royal does hold that off. He's got vulture speed as well, and a lot of vultures out on the map. Maybe he can go for some sort of run by, although Best does have a Dragoon in that little crevice there between the buildings at the natural. Gonna be holding things back, and now mines being laid down everywhere. Royal taking map control for a little bit here, but everything still relatively even in this game. We've got 3 factory out of Royal again. Does he want to do a repeat push from that game versus Bisu? It's looking very similar.
It is very similar. It's slightly earlier timed as well, so I think he's identified that there's a moment of weakness here, and his mines have just kicked in. So he's kind of got a breath of confidence. He did lose that 1 tank though, so that will kind of weaken up this push a little bit. Shuttle of Best going to be flying into the main base presently. There's also a mine being laid with some turrets on the way. I'm curious if Best going to fall for that trap and land this right on top of the mine, but luckily the Zealots come out first and going to soak up that. Oh, the mine goes off.
I think that mine was killed by the Reaver shot, actually. Yeah, no damage on that Reaver. And he's gonna force the evacuation of the main base here. Might actually pull some mines. No, looks like Vulture's gonna clean up that last Zealot. Oh god, if he had walked into that mineral line, it would have been insane. A right click in that mineral line could have killed a ton of SCVs, but right now he's losing his natural. He really needs to kind of push Royal off of this position here. Oh my god!
Wow. The tank and the SCVs all go down thanks to that very well placed mine.
Yeah, that Reaver did die though, so that takes a lot of pressure off of Royal. Though he did lose a ton of SCVs, he is doing a lot of damage here in the natural, and there's not too much that Best can do about it. He's sending his shuttle back home, and maybe he can get some Zealot bombs, but this is a great spot.
I mean, Best is kind of desperate now. Yeah, he's like gonna try and like expand to this bottom left base, I feel, and try and like skirmish from the high ground if he needs to, because there's no way he can retake his natural.
Yeah, here we go. Some vultures coming up. They're gonna kill off a few of these probes, just slow down his ability to get out of this this back area here. Another shuttle moving out on the map. Will he send that across? Oh, he drops a probe. He wants to take that base, but there's a mine in position. Oh, God, losing more probes here is so painful. He just wants to get rid of this mineral patch, but he's just not able to get it done. Losing a lot of vultures for this, but every moment, every probe he kills off here is another delay to that next nexus that's going to come down for Best.
Yeah. It's really great play from Royal. I'm always kind of blown away by how Royal approaches some of these matchups. I really like his aggressive style, and he usually does execute the pushes that he does with such perfection. He's not quite like a really top tier player that can devastate everyone yet, but most of the time he really impresses me, and I feel like he's only going to get stronger from here on.
Yeah, he has shown some immaculate play in KCM. In the past, really looking incredibly strong, even stronger than he does in ASL. Now gonna come forward, try to break this position, but Best gonna take some big mine hits there. Luckily he does have Dragoons coming from that flank. They managed to get through that mineral field finally and get out on the map. So he clears that spot. He's got a Nexus on the center right. This is a sneaky Nexus position. I don't think that Royal knows about that. If he did, he would have sent vultures to that area already. But this is just going to be a sneak expand from Best. He's been behind on expansions for a long time, though. Royal sitting here mining happily on 2 bases. Best just transferring those probes out towards the base here in the center right, and his main is like nearly mined out.
I was just about to say, Sam, one of the things is that because he's been contained onto this one base economy for so long, he's going to get mined out so soon that even though he's getting these double expansions up, he's not really going to be ahead of the Terran for very long. They're going to have to continue to expand while also dealing with another powerful timing push from Royal soon.
Yeah, Royal getting set up here. As long as Best controls the center, this base is safe. But if Royal manages to get across these bridges, Best is going to be in a lot of trouble here. Seems like Royal wants to slowly push forward, though. Maybe take that third, and that kind of plays into Best's hands a little bit at least. Setting up on the next to the bridges now. Royal going to secure this position, but I don't think he wants to come across just yet.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to take the gamble just yet. He may see if he can kind of sneak out some vultures and pick a good moment to come across the bridges. He may try it once or twice and then just take his third if he's unable to. He does identify the 2 Reavers in zone control positions on those ramps, so pretty hard to push across these bridges to deal with these 2 Reavers, especially with the Dragoons coming in to help shortly after. So Royal most likely not going to try and push across the ramp, but he can do so. It's just he risks losing a lot of units for that small potential gain.
Vulture out here on the map. That base in the center right actually doesn't have any defenses just yet, so Best now going to throw down some cannons in that location, start to shore up that area. Dragoons are actually going to catch this and pick it off before I think it saw this base. He might have seen the pylon there, but I don't think he saw the Nexus. So Royal's still a little bit in the dark as to where Best has expanded at this point. I think Best can probably take the base at his third as well here shortly. May end up grabbing that base just because his main is going to mine out pretty quickly. Adding on... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, one thing to know about this map is that once you do get 4 bases, there's not really many more bases you can take very easily. And it is very hard to maintain these 4th bases without taking damage for free if you can't control the center. So I'm curious how these players plan to go ahead if this game does get drawn out. But I don't think it will. I feel like we're going to see a lot of aggression out of Royal once he gets set up and gets a big enough army. He's going to be going up to 2-1 upgrades, and meanwhile we're seeing some Stargates coming out from Best here.
Best gonna carrier transition from this. You can see the Cybernin score is spinning. We'll see when Royal finds out about that. He may already know. His third base feels late though. Do you see this? It's just floating out now.
Really late. I think, yeah, Royals played this really safe. I'm not sure he needed to. I think maybe he thought that Best was going to be really aggressive after taking so much damage. So he's been really cautious in taking this third. But that's kind of allowed Best to like build back up again and go into this tech switch. So I'd still say the game technically favors Royal. So if he doesn't identify these carriers very shortly, which he should be able to, just scanning that core alone and seeing it spinning would be enough to tell him what's going on. So there's no reason why he shouldn't find out about this shortly if he hasn't already.
Yeah, hopefully he does learn of that very quickly here. He still needs to come across these bridges though. Either way, he's gonna have to push against Reaver. It's very frustrating. Oh, this is a great idea here from Bass. He's gonna drive in with 3 shuttles. He went all the way around so he doesn't have to take much turret damage until he gets right on top of this. 2 Reavers here. That means that there's not going to be the Reavers to help with stopping Terran from pushing, but this is going to delay by quite a bit. It's going to give him more time to get carriers out. Does lose all of the shuttles here. The Reaver's still going to work on some SCVs. Might end up getting a few more kills here before this goes down, and it will be cleared. But where are we at with carrier production now?
We're on the way of the first 3 carriers. I imagine they're going to be popping out within a minute. I like the speed shuttle play. It's kind of like your poor man's recall. You don't technically need the arbiter tech if you've got the shells. Oh, nice scan from Royal. Finally gonna see what's going on there. Going to be able to start his Goliath production shortly, and also maybe set up for a push. He understands that he needs to go now. He needs to kill expansions and do damage. He realizes he can't just sit when the Protoss player is making that kind of investment into carriers. So shortly he'll be trying to move out across these bridges.
I like the spread here from Royal is getting tanks on every bridge, but this is still a very awkward push out. I mean, he's doing it about as perfectly as you could ever hope, but Best is still slowing down this army by quite a lot just by being here in position to jump on the army as it's coming across the bridges.
Yeah, Best needs to buy another like 2-3 minutes of time, and then he's probably golden. And Royal understands that now is the time to go. Best going to be putting on a small counter-offensive on the left-hand side, make sure that Royal's not being greedy and is like being too light on his defenses, making sure he's keeping some tanks back at home. Meanwhile, Best jostling for position by sending up his units and then having to pull back, though. There's a lot of vultures up there, so Best in full retreat from the center. Needs to be careful because Royal can set up and start sieging this 4th base location from the middle, cutting off some of his income, which will make it harder and harder for him to continue to pump carriers and interceptors as well as infantry. Just like Best moving over to the left flank of the map to try and launch a counter assault. There's also a speed shuttle here to try and bomb these tanks. I think Royal's identified this is a bit of a weak position, going to be shuffling back his army now, and Best also going to be moving away. A lot of the plays that happen in this matchup are like kind of complex army maneuvering. The Protoss is able to exploit the immobility of Terran a lot, but Royal getting up into the top right with a couple of siege tanks are going to be shutting down the mining in this base here, maybe eventually the Nexus, and also has been continuing to lay siege to this base at the 230 location. So right now Royal doing an exceptional job of taking the fangs out of the beast that is Best right now, but still hasn't gotten on top of much more than these expansions, but it might just be enough for him to keep the Protoss from making too much of a ground army along with these carriers, and it might be just the ticket that Royal needs to stay in control of this game.
Looks like Best is going to lose 2 Nexus, but he was on 5 bases there, so acceptable losses, I think, for the Protoss right now. He's going to get that carrier army out. He's got 6 carriers here, so there's a potential to retake these bases, to deal a lot of damage to Royal here. He's trying to push across the map. This is not enough Goliaths, though. Where are all the Goliaths? I guess we're maxed out right now, so Royal, he can't really produce more at this moment.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way of Best knowing that, but if Best just focuses down Goliaths and doesn't free up supply by killing much of his army, it's going to be really tricky for Royal, actually. So you won't be able to pump many Goliaths, like you say, so I feel like Best will start gutting down all these tanks, though, so he will be able to start making full rounds of Goliaths soon. This is a lot of carriers. I mean, 6 carriers really scary. He has +1 armor on these as well as +1 attack, so these carriers are pretty strong right now, and Royal going to be in a little bit of trouble. Has shaved off all the shields off those carriers with an EMP, so that's going to help him out a lot. But there's not a lot of Goliaths coming out, so Best in full control at the moment, picking up Wake Up. A huge vulture counterattack in the bottom right, taking out all the probes, Sam.
Wow, and the army is completely out of position here for Best. It's all on this left side. It looks like he's going to gamble everything on an attack here towards this 3rd base of Royal. Try to take that out and try to, you know, push in towards Royal. Just fight this army here, whereas Royal is getting a lot done with a small counterattack. His tanks are coming back. These are all going to get picked off here. There's like 1 Goliath, and every single tank is going down right now. This is pretty bad for Royal.
Royal needed that base. No, if Royal doesn't secure this base right this second and get these carriers out of here, he's in trouble. He's putting the pressure on. He knows if he kills this expansion, eventually he'll be able to whittle down the interceptors, but not if he can't secure this base. He needs this base desperately to keep producing Goliaths right now. He's got enough gas, but he doesn't have enough minerals. He needs this base at all costs. He's currently mined out, so what you see is what you get, and Protoss only needs a little bit of minerals to keep producing interceptors. Does finally take out that Nexus, so the Protoss will have a limited, finite amount of these interceptors to work with, but Royal doesn't have that many Goliaths, so he can't really shave off many of these interceptors either, and more carriers are on the other side of the map as well to deal with the tanks on Best's side. He has enough money to build a Nexus, but has opted not to do so. He wants to finish the game now. He's instead just going to be pouring all his minerals into interceptors as the carrier count comes in full force, with 9 carriers, 1 desperately low on HP, going to be pulling them back not to risk losing one of those carriers with probably full interceptor count. So Best doing a good job of maintaining his fleet, but is not currently mining, so needs to finish the game now, or at the very least not allow Royal to take another single expansion. As long as he can just maintain this game state and not let Royal mine anything, he probably will be able to win from here. So really well played from both players, but I think Best might have it in terms of position.
Yeah, those 9 carriers cannot be denied here. They're gonna kill all of these tanks. Tanks did a great job of picking off the 3rd at least, and killing a lot of the probes that were left over for Best. So he really isn't mining anything at this moment. He's actually hiding his probes here, trying not to allow any of them more to get picked off. Gonna long distance mine here for now, but man, this is a close one. This is getting a little bit crazy. He's gonna long distance mine over here as well, looks like. Try to get just a few more minerals out so he can pump a little bit more Goliath.
Yeah, he's got... Okay, he's just barely now got enough Goliaths where if he can get on top of the carriers, he can win a fight. It's going to come down pretty much to all micro now. There's a huge amount of carriers, but a little bit of a mistake from Best. If he oversteps his mark a little bit, Royal can get on top of these carriers and start taking them out one at a time. But I think Best is going to wisely try and use this big open ponds to keep microing back and forth with at this 3rd base location and eventually whittle down most of these Goliaths. But Royal understands the game state, so he's happy to hold position his Goliaths at range to just shoot at interceptors, because he knows even just by reducing the interceptor count, he's going to take the fangs away from the beast of Best. So far it's looking good.
You can already see that the interceptor count is getting low. He's diving into the natural, but there's not nearly as many interceptors as there should be.
I think Royal's doing it almost, even though he's getting this mining shutdown at this base, saying like he has whittled down the interceptor count a lot, and Best did spend his last 400 minerals on interceptors rather than trying to take a Nexus to stabilize for more production later. So yeah, right now, Best is actually losing his window. He's desperately trying to long-distance mine with what little probes he does have remaining. He doesn't have a lot of probes, though, so he's only trickling out a few interceptors here and there now.
Yeah, the interceptor number is so low, and the Goliath count is still growing. We've got mining here at the 3rd for Royal. It's so critical that he gets those extra little bits of income here and can produce a few more turrets, produce a few more Goliaths, and finish off the remaining interceptors. You can see just 5 here on this carrier, even less on some of the others. And a vulture. Oh man, that vulture picking off the long distance mining probes is so painful. Best just has nothing left at this point. Oh, he's picking up.
Yeah, he picked him up in the shuttle.
Oh my gosh, what is going on?
Desperate times, desperate measures.
This is gonna fly around over towards the natural, draw the Goliaths over to this area. Maybe he wants to run in with his Dragoons as well in towards the main base. Get on top of the production. I don't know if it's gonna work out for him. There's a lot of Goliaths here. They're starting to shoot down these interceptors. Can he make it work? Can Best finagle this into a win? The doors are closing here. The opportunity is just about past. Royal's still mining here with now 105 supply to just 85. Carriers can do a lot, but I don't know if they can get the win here.
Yeah, he needs to get up the ramp with these goons and fight goons with carriers is the only chance he's got. He's identified that, but unfortunately I think there's just slightly too much. Royal gunning down the interceptors in high number. There's hardly any left. I don't think there's enough left to keep fighting this for much longer. And he's able to keep trickling out a few Goliaths at a time because he is still mining from this base at the 3rd. So I think Royal might have just barely done it by the skin of his teeth. There's just enough Goliaths in reserve to keep fighting these carriers back now, and Best in retreat. Yeah, I think he's done it. GG.
Wow, GG. Best taps out. Royal gonna take that victory. Really close game there, though. Coming down to the wire. That floating command center taking the 3rd base. Retaking that third base is so important. The counterattacks with the vultures as well, killing so many probes was insanely big. And yeah, he takes it away, eliminates his third player of the night. You can just see the power of Royal and KCM, man. This is his format. He dominates so hard here and may end up continuing to dominate as he eliminates the final Protoss player. They go out first. Solkey is the last Zerg, and the last hurdle here for Royal in taking a win for the Terran race. Let's go on to that game number 7. Solkey, the final hurdle here to a Terran victory in our first week of the KCM Season 2 2023. Guys, thank you so much for being here. I hope you are enjoying this cast, this co-cast with me and Shun. If you do, make sure to put a comment down below. It helps me out with the algorithm. And with that being said, we're going to jump into this game. Royal in the top left, Solkey in the bottom left. We are on Nemesis, a wall-in getting started here for Royal. And no pool just yet, so it is going to be an 11 hatch for Solkey.
Yeah. I'm interested to see if Solkey is going to go into his like normal like macro routine and just become an absolute powerhouse for Royal to have to try and chew through, or if Solkey's going to try and mix it up. There is some interesting stuff you can do on this map, but with the wall in from Royal and the early gas, I don't think we're going to see anything too unusual from Solkey this game. I think he's going to be playing a little bit reactive initially when he realizes what the tech choice for Royal is going to be.
Yeah, he's getting that nice scout in. The Overlord heading north to start, so he sees everything. He doesn't need to send a drone scout or anything. He knows that, you know, his opponent could be extremely greedy here. He could be teching, he could be doing a number of different things, and Solkey's gonna have to make those adjustments. It is going to be tech here with that gas.
And Solkey did delay his gas slightly because he went for the 11 hatch instead of 12 hatch. So he's optimizing his build a little bit to make sure he doesn't mine his gas too quickly and be a little bit stuck for minerals. So,
right, he's gonna have to start a creep colony here. Once his hatch is done, you have to be aware of the possibility of a factory on the map here. You know, throwing down a proxy fact or just building a vulture at home can be very dangerous.
Yeah, and making the creep at 3 minutes 30 is the timing for the normal vulture. However, if it's a 10-10-10 proxy factory into vulture, you basically have to start the creep colony as soon as the hatchery finishes.
We do have a few lings out here. We're about to reach that 330 mark. He sees that the barracks has only produced 1 marine and has stopped that production, so he should know 100% that there is a vulture on the way now. The creep still has not been thrown down, so he could have been in danger had there been a proxy factory out on the map, 10-10-10, but he is going to be fine here. Oh, blocking the creep colony for a little bit, putting that little extra pressure on, slowing down that creep colony just for a few seconds might give Royal the opportunity to run by here, although it's going to be extremely close.
No, I don't think he will definitely get into the main base, but I guess if he wanted to, he could maybe try and get behind the minerals or something. There is a hatchery on the right-hand side to block, to make that as hard as possible, but he still goes for it, gets onto the right-hand side. That's the best play for Royal in this situation, but luckily for the Zerg here, going to be getting on both sides of that vulture with the drones. So absolutely phenomenal response at dealing with that as efficiently and cleanly as possible without losing too many units there.
Yeah, very nicely done. He loses just a few lings and no drones end up dying. So,
ooh, Valkyries.
Okay, a Valkyrie follow-up here from Royal. Solkey going for a Spire, looks like. So he may end up getting completely pushed away the moment that he comes in with this Mutilus Swarm. We're going to have Valkyries already out and ready to go.
Did he start making a dropship before the armor? Yeah, is he making a dropship right now? I think he's good. Is he doing a vulture drop? I think Royal will be going for a vulture drop before this Valkyrie timing.
Could be. I mean, it is unfortunate that he lost that first vulture. it's a lot more powerful with 4, but 3 still one-shots a drone, so he's gonna send this out over towards his opponent's base. Unfortunately, spotted immediately here by the Overlord. It's gonna give Sulky a lot of time to prepare if he did indeed see that. Spire is about to finish, but there's not too much on the field here for Sulky to actually hold this. What does he actually have?
Lings. He's got 4 lings, and he probably is going to just drill to the natural and wait for mutas, because he just understands that if he wastes lava on lings at this point, it's just game over. So he's just going to sack a few drones while drilling and wait for mutas. So he just accepted the loss essentially there.
About 4 drones end up going down. He's going to try and slip by here. Oh, he gets one past. He does lose that single vulture, but he will get a few more kills maybe. No, one more kill, and that does go down. Nice drilling there by Sulky, just bugging out the AI and keeping his drone count healthy. He lost a lot there, but he's still in an okay position. Like you said, he didn't build any more lings there. He just completely relied on the drone drill. He should be able to pop out more drones and get his Mutalisk number going. Here comes those first 2 Valkyries. We'll have to see how they connect here. He hasn't built even a single turret, so just completely relying on Goliath and Valkyrie. That's a lot of gas. Surprised we haven't seen Royal take a second gas just yet, because those are very expensive gas units.
Well, you got 2 choices. You can either make turrets, or you can be greedy and maybe try and go for a vulture drop play. And he wanted to go for that vulture drop play, so all those extra minerals that usually might have gone on turrets have instead gone on that vulture and drop ship. So he does have to rely on only what you see here. He can't really afford to make turrets at this point, so he's going to try and do his best not to lose his Valkyries, because if he did lose these first 2 Valkyries, it could just be lights out for him. So really like tightrope of a build from Royal here, by putting on pressure whilst also cutting a few corners to be able to squeeze out that aggression. So I really like Royal's choice of play, but it does require very phenomenal execution, and thus far he's been able to maintain that.
Another base going down here in the bottom right. Sulky gonna spread out on the map. You can see drones just popping into existence there. A lot of production gonna be ramped up here for Sulky, excuse me. I was about to say need money. It's pretty funny. Pretty funny
Sulky
ID.
needs money, man.
He needs money. He ended up getting scammed at some point. Can't remember exactly the details there, but if you want to check it out, Jinjin 5000, I'm sure he's got some details on that. Check out his channel for the full story, but he definitely needs money. It's going to take some big shots here from the Valkyries. The number is becoming a little bit insane here. We're getting a lot of Valkyries out, and we don't have a transition here for Sulky just yet. He's been pumping a lot of drones, but I don't see a Hydra Den. Oh, there it is. Den and Evo. Okay. So we will have Hydra production coming shortly. And just ton of Scourge here. Try to snipe as many Valkyries as you can. And take fights with Hydralisk in the mid game.
Well, Sulky's definitely going to need money after taking damage to that vulture drop. But getting into the main base and with no turrets, going to be able to swipe out a few of the... ooh, beautiful, beautiful Valkyrie micro from Royal there, showing us that he can do it just as well as Light sometimes too. But he's going to have to be able to pull off those maneuvers when dealing with the Scourge if he wants to be able to maintain this lead. So I'd like to see if he can handle microing these Valkyries throughout the remainder of the game, because just one small mistake on that micro can be a nightmare situation for you if you do not execute it correctly and then lose them all to Scourge. Can just be GG right there for Terran. He has a very minimal bio force here. Kind of a weird composition. We hear 2 Goliaths, 2 Marines, 2 medics, and a handful of Valkyries. Almost like a box art kind of unit composition.
Yeah, very strange stuff, but it's just perfectly suited to this situation. There's a lot of mutas out here, just a very few Hydralisk being produced. That tank is going to come up and be super useful. Oh my god.
Did you see? Royal is so good with these Valkyrie slides. Maybe he's been practicing it a lot lately. I haven't seen him use Valkyries a lot, but so far, every time I have seen him use Valkyries, he's been nailing that micro. So I'm really impressed so far from Royal. Now going to be moving to the southern threshold of the map while Sulky putting on some pressure in the natural, but unable to find much damage there.
Yeah, the Valkyries are not present here in the natural, so there is an opportunity to deal a little bit of damage with the Mutas, though he is backing away now, getting ready to fight with this army. He's got quite a few Lings, a lot of Hydras moving forward here. If he crushes this army, he could be in a better position, but I don't know if that's going to happen with 2 tanks coming up and a pretty decent amount of bio plus those Valkyries. It's a scary army.
One thing Sulky's really good at doing is swallowing up small bio armies with Mutaling, and that's kind of what he was hoping for there, but Royal's being rightfully so patient and waiting for these tanks to start to make their way down before continuing. So keeping his army all together and making sure he uses these Valkyries as point defense to put on a lot of pressure, but also retreat to his army if need be. Doing a lot of fancy Valkyrie micro here. Let's see if we can get the Scourge. Oh, look at that! Royal is hitting his micro perfectly today so far. I haven't seen him mess it up once.
Yeah, great moves by Royal. And now we're hitting kind of like this really scary point where the Valkyries are in such high number and they're being controlled so well that, oh, the Scourge can't even connect here, and the Overlords are going to start going down en masse. Down to
this is rough.
89 of 68. So many Overlords have fallen, and without even engaging with the main army, Royal has pulled ahead significantly here just by killing a ton of Overlords and Scourge with those Valkyries.
I think one thing that Sulky's got going for him is that there isn't a huge scary army for Terran just yet. So if he can hang on, get his Defiler tech out, ooh, so much damage. All the mutas just get absolutely obliterated. Just how crazy are Valkyries?
Just destroyed there. Oh my god. And I don't think we're going to see another Scourge or Mutalisk for the rest of this game because the Valkyrie number is just way too high. The control is too good. And yeah, there's nothing that Sulky can do with any of these units. He's going to try and block this ramp, but 3 tanks on high ground just blast these lurkers. Oh, he manages to run away. Oh, that's so good. Keeping those alive is really important right now. His Defiler's nest, or Defiler's den, is just about done. Defiler mound, that's the one. Just about done, so he needs to hold on for just a few more seconds here, and then he might be able to save this base. Running up with the lurkers. Oh man, nice scan there. He's gonna go after the tanks, it looks like. Diving on the tanks as quickly as possible. Trying to gun them down, but there's gonna be 1 tank remaining here with all the bios still alive. Oh my god. Wow. 7 Overlords going down here in the main. Brutal damage. I don't think Sulky will be able to produce anything for a very long time, and this base in the bottom right may end up going down.
Well, saying for a very long time, Valkyries were considered the worst unit in the game. I'm not so sure anymore. With good micro, and now that we have extended unit count because of the remaster, I'm starting to see Valkyries as being one of the strongest units in the game if used correctly against Zerg.
Absolutely, they are a big pain in the butt to deal with. He is going to run forward here, drop a Dark Swarm. It looks like Sulky will recover from this position. Kills off a lot of Marines there. Nicely done. And he does secure that 3rd base once again. He didn't lose too many drones. He had a rough time in the main with those Overlords going down, but he's managed to recover.
We're going to see a full-on mech switch while taking a Ninja expansion in the top right. I kind of like this choice from Royal. The Zerg has stabilized now and has enough left over to basically be invincible for the time being. As long as he doesn't make a mistake with losing a Defiler before Dark Swarming or forgetting to make a Defiler to replace one that's about to die. I feel like Sulky's going to survive and be able to get onto 4 bases, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to deal with Royal's late game mech production. So it looks like Royal's double expanding and taking 12 o'clock too, and getting into the bottom right base with 4 speed vultures and starting to gun down the drone line. There's no burrow upgrade either, so few drones do go down. Another attempt was made in the main base, but that one was shut down rather quickly, so not able to find much damage there.
Yeah, that was a funny one. That was like a science vessel just flying over into the main base. I don't know where that was. Maybe on a bad rally or something. I'm not sure, but just flew all the way across and died basically for free, which is not the way you want to use your first vessel, but still, Royal's position is good. I like what you're saying. Having the Ninja expansion in the top right, you know that Sulky is on the back foot right now. He needs to get that base up, that 4th base. You know, he's just defending with the very bare minimum, so there's really no option for him to come across the map and stop a Ninja expansion. Generally, it's not that good as Terran because you do have mutas still flying around at this point in the game, but all the mutas have been picked. There's really no area where Sulky can counterattack here. And Royal's going to get these bases up for free. He doesn't have to defend over there. He just has to keep the pressure on and, you know, transition into this mech army as quickly as possible. Another drop here in the main.
Yeah, 4 vultures going to be trying to do what they can. The Overlord of Sulky did spot that, so as long as he was paying attention, should have some units in the main base to clean that up soon. Yeah, there is some Hydras and Lings there to mop up those vultures. Meanwhile, be interesting to see if Sulky can identify exactly what he's going to be facing soon, because if Royal's going to split the map in half, he has total air control with these Valkyries going around the map, so okay, I think that Sulky's starting to sniff out what's going on now. It might be too little too late though. Like, I feel like Royal's already got enough map control to prevent much counterplay at the moment.
Yeah, Royal's gonna cut off these assimilators. Gonna kill these assimilators here in the right hand side. Just cut that base off from being taken for Sulky for a while at least. He's also floating a building to the center left. I wonder if he's taking that base as well, because he's just expanding like crazy right now. All the bases in the top part of the map have been taken, and he's just getting in position to kind of cut this map in half perfectly, lengthwise through the middle of the map, on the side of Sulky. So giving those bases over to the Terran is kind of unacceptable. The center right and the center left. Yeah, it's really going into Royal's favor now. He's got so many tanks. He's got so many mines. This is going to be rough for Sulky.
Yeah. Royal's getting really retro here, and he's basically saying all your base up belong to us, and he's just slowly squeezing Sulky out of the map. Sulky does have 4 gases online, which is really great for Zerg, but when you're up against mech, it becomes a little bit of a different story. It becomes more like a ZVP game where you need a lot of expansion. Sulky trying to take the 6 o'clock soon, while also going for maybe some Overlord drop counterplay. He is hiding these 2 Overlords quite sneakily and making their way to the natural base of Royal. Maybe he can find some damage there while Royal's out on the map and feeling comfortable in his position right now. So maybe can take a lot of damage here if he's not careful.
Yeah, that's a really sneaky drop. 2 lurkers plus a Dark Swarm. Can't really deal with that easily. Needs to start getting irradiates down here. Just gonna irradiate the 2 lurkers. Makes sense. Get rid of them as quickly as possible. Plague on those 2 vessels, very annoying, but this will be cleared. And I'd like to see Royal set up kind of a similar position to what he has on the right hand side of the map here on the left as well, with those tanks and turrets on the high ground. Makes it really hard to get future drops off over towards this position. A few more Scourge coming out, instantly destroyed there. Damn, fault, they're just so good.
Royal is really on top of his control all game long. I mean, it's surprising that even a Terran player of his caliber still executing like that kind of level of micro, even 18 minutes into a game, is pretty exceptional. I don't think I've seen him mess it up once.
So he's gonna spot the space over at the 6 o'clock. That area is still open, so tanks can actually walk straight in here. It's unfortunate for Sulky. Didn't kill those assimilators a little bit earlier. He's gonna lose his base, and Royal's actually ahead on bases now. This is not good. He's maxed. He's going to be getting more and more powerful here as the upgrades really start to roll in. I'm not sure what he's at right now, but he's got to have at least 1-1 at this point. He's going to have 2-2 soon, I'm sure, as well. Ultra's Cavern is out. This is one way to deal with Terran mech, but I think you have to be ahead in bases if you want to go Ultra.
Well, you at the very least have to turn it into a scrappy game so you can fight the Terran mech in small pockets. You don't want to have to fight a big, massive Terran ball of mech straight on like that. Your Ultras will just be crushed. 1 Ultra is the equivalent gas cost of 2 tanks. And if he's got a lot of siege tanks, a lot of mines, it's going to be almost impossible to trade cost efficiently with the Ultras. So if he can turn into a scrappy game and kind of pull Royal all over the map a little bit, maybe get rid of these Valkyries of a plague and snipe them. It's possible there's some options here for Sulky. He does have a lot of gas banked, so he definitely has some options for play here. But one thing he could rely on is drops, but generally speaking, Zerg drops are not that effective Sulky can do what he can to minesweep the map with Lings like we see here, and try and reduce the mine count before finally trying to go for an engage to make sure that his army doesn't get softened up too much. But Royal's done such a good job of being proactive and reinforcing these positions and maintaining his map control so far.
Absolutely. He's going to start to break through these eggs as well. Open up that base on the center left. Prevent Sulky from taking that. He's preventing this drone from getting over to the left-hand side just by the fact he killed the assimilators earlier. Looks like some drops going to come through here. Maybe a couple lurkers with a Dark Swarm. Yeah, just to hold on for a little bit of time here. Keep himself alive, but there are, of course, those science vessels. They will be irradiating everything down. He's also got the Valkyries that can come over here and pick off. Oh, no, 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 no. Gonna lose a bunch of vessels here. Nothing nothing in the air to actually deal with those, and he's gonna pick up another group of units here and drop in the space once again. Maybe he can just barely get the space up, but it's been a real struggle here.
So 6 o'clock got denied, so he desperately needs this base. If he doesn't, it's going to be, the longer this game goes on, the harder and harder it gets for Sulky. But if he can get this base online and keeps Dark Swarming, it is really hard for Terran mech to push through Dark Swarms, because once the lurkers are burrowed underneath, they are essentially invincible without fire bats or irradiates. So he can really slow Royal down and start to trade really cost effectively. He's kind of doing what I said earlier. He's kind of starting to turn this into a scrappy game, because Royal's like the Roman Empire right now. He's spread a little thin, so he can't really put all his eggs in one basket. So if Sulky can keep like picking apart his army in small pockets, eventually he will start trading more and more efficiently and be able to take more of these bases, and then it might be Royal on the back foot once Sulky can start getting more ultras out and reducing the tank count further.
Well, Sulky is completely maxed out. He gets another nice snipe there on a science vessel. He doesn't really have anywhere to go with this army, though, except for picking them up into overlords and trying to get more drops. These Valkyries are preventing that from happening, though, at the moment. He's even going to dive in here, kill a bunch of overlords. Oh, the Scourge. Oh my god, Scourge are so dumb.
The Scourge is so dumb, saying.
It's really annoying to try and get Scourge to connect sometimes. They all get picked off there. I think maybe one Valkyrie went down, but he gets a good plague. All these Valkyries super low now will be easily picked off by just a Hydra or two. And there's actually Hydras down here. Looks like that one Valkyrie went down. The last one with 12 kills. That Commander Valkyrie finally gets picked off. A drop coming over here to this high ground. He could drop some tanks on this high ground, try to push down onto this base. It'll be up to Sulky to clear that and get this 6 o'clock going at the same time. Big problem here for Sulky. He's going to lose a lot of drones.
Yeah, he's going to start trading ultras now, but there is quite a huge tank line for Royal. Oh, great flank from Sulky. They're bringing up from the right-hand side, and these Dark Swarms get on top of all of the tanks of Royal. Royal's completely out of position now. Sulky's completely flipped the script on Royal in this game by doing this play. Now Royal has completely lost his entire siege line on the right-hand side of the map, and now his entire position is now open. Sulky can start putting on counterattacks on the right-hand side of the map, and is going to do so. I feel like Sulky can put a lot of pressure on now. Royal's going to be scrambling to try and reinforce this top right position.
Yes, Royal scrambling here, getting more factories in the top right-hand corner, though, so he can reinforce his position a little bit easier. Meanwhile, that base in the center left is still taking damage. Ultras are being picked off here by mines and tanks all over the place. Lings are just spilling forward, trying to break this top right hand corner. If Sulky can get in here and do this, he's really gonna put himself in a much better position. But I don't know, man. There's still a lot of tanks.
He's killing a lot of tanks, though, and these factories in the top right are not that well defended. There's no wall here, so if Sulky can keep reinforcing his position and put more and more pressure, he will eventually break through. This is only a numbers game, and right now Sulky's winning the numbers game because this is not a tenable position for Royal to maintain. And with these Dark Swarms preventing the siege line from encroaching up onto that high ground to help defend, he's going to be able to keep getting units into the main base of the top right. So the defense matrix going down on one of these tanks to try and buffer, but it's going to be too little too late, and Sulky now going to get on the production of these factories on the top right, and is still holding off this tank line from reinforcing on the western threshold.
Oh, such a massive moment here as these few more ultras make their way into the top right. He even gets a great mine drag there to kill off some of these tanks. Tanks are still popping out here. We've got 5 factories, so still a lot of production, and the army is moving towards this area. All he needs to do is pick off or just set up another tank line there and prevent any more units from getting up here, and he should be able to clean up with his reinforcements pumping out of these factories. He does finish that off, but that bought Sulky a lot of time in order to get his macro really rolling here in the 6 o'clock and over there in the 9 o'clock position as well. I think he hasn't cleaned out the tanks on high ground above his 9 o'clock, but he's cleaning out the middle of the map, and that's really important at this moment.
Yeah, right now he just needs to thin out the tank count as much as possible. Much like TVP, you're just trying to prevent the Terran from getting too large of a tank force. Once he gets like 2-3 control groups of siege tanks, it becomes really hard to break through. But if you can kind of keep the game scrappy like this and trade off a few tanks at a time and prevent the tanks from getting up in too high of number, it's still a position you can keep breaking through. So Sulky is now going to take this map control away from Royal a little bit, and we'll start to hit this tank position in the north from 2 angles now, coming through the middle and the right hand side. Huge dark swarms giving cover for his units coming in, and Sulky going to be able to mop up the remainder of these siege tanks, it looks like. So far Sulky doing an absolutely fantastic job of crippling Royal's ability to maintain his position in the middle.
Yeah, it looks like just barely gonna get that one more dark swarm there on top of these tanks. Maybe saves that. Nope, that one more tank does go down. But you know, Royal fighting back here pretty strongly, keeping his position just barely on that side of the map. Looks like an 8-kill lurker.
Wow.
Damn. All of the craziness that's going on right now. Royal not able to pay attention to everything at the same time. He loses a ton of workers over there in the center right, but he's still got a lot of bases. He's fine for now.
Yeah, one of the hardest things to do as Zerg in this position is tell your Lings to manual move command through minefields, because there's just so many things you have to click on. Usually you don't have the time to minesweep with Lings. You're just trying to frantically get your units into position to attack. So as you can see, most of these Lings will be on attack move, which means they will blow up in the face of the mines. Sulky crippling the eastern flank of those tanks yet again. Now just a handful of tanks remaining in the middle while Sulky progresses on to the northeast. But there are 4 siege tanks on this little high ground peninsula area, which are causing absolute devastation to those units. So cleaning up a lot of the gas units of Sulky there.
Oh, I love that position, that high ground there from Royal. So strong. You don't actually think about it, but that covers the entire entrance to this base. Just having those on the high ground is so hard to get to. The walking distance to get on top of those is a little bit ridiculous. You've got to go all the way around and up onto that ramp in order to get into position. Oh, dropship's gonna be killed. He does manage to get out one of those Goliaths, but looks like Ling should be able to clean up from here just barely, and he gets the other dropship as well. Pretty good hold here by Sulky, but he needs to get this base mining once again. He finally does clear out those high ground tanks. This is good. This is good stuff by Sulky. He needs to get this base as well, and then he can probably grind it out in a long game. But if Royal takes that base in the center right, I think he should be able to take it just by, you know, holding his position and forcing the Zerg to run into him over and over again.
Yeah, Zerg definitely doesn't want to let Terran have that base. Then they're both on even bases, and the Terran can eventually squeeze out a value win over the Zerg. So definitely want to deny the Terran player from getting that for as long as possible and eventually taking it ourselves. So right now it will become a very positional chess game to try and Royal so he can secure the base, and Sulky to punish him for trying to do that. There's so many mines in the middle of the map, so many Ultralisks can risk dying just for moving out. Sulky's got to be really careful with these small skirmish. He clears out most of the mines on the right hand side, then comes in with a flood of Lings from the left. Dark Swarms get set up to help cover the army as they advance, and he is shredding through a lot of these siege tanks as he goes. So as long as he's making some progress and is reducing the tank count, it's not too bad, but he is losing a lot of units to do this, so he has to be very careful. He's trying to get away with mostly using Zerglings to clear up these forces, so he's not investing too heavily into Ultralisks, because if he bleeds off his gas unnecessarily, even just a little bit, Royal will just kind of snowball out of control, and the Zerg will no longer be able to fight the huge Terran army.
Ooh, putting down some irradiates on those Ultras here, forcing them to kind of engage at this moment. Getting picked off though, man, there's not much money left for Sulky. He really needs money now, as the base here in the center right starts to mine for Royal. That irradiated Ultralisk, unfortunately, just gonna die in the corner all alone. Very sad. Goes down there, but Soulkey, man, I don't know if he's got much left. He's at 126 supply to 200. Is there any chance of him breaking through here?
It's really rough. I mean, there's a small chance, but every second that passes, his percentage is slowly lowering. So, and he's not been able to mine from these top 4 mineral patches at this 9 o'clock as well. So he's already drying up. So there's not really a lot of gas left in the tank. Got to be trying to go in with all these Scourge and sniping off most of the fleet of vessels. That's something at least for Soulkey. Every little helps at this point in the game. He needs to trade off as many pieces of the map as he can to try and simplify his position, because right now it's quite a complicated situation. He's got to try and navigate his way through one of the worst situations to be in as Zerg when you're not ahead. So it's going to be an uphill battle for Soulkey. He's going to be trying to probably bomb on top of the siege tank lines and try and get as much value as possible by exploding the tanks. But I don't know if that's going to be enough for him. He may try and attack into the 3 o'clock as a last-ditch effort to restrict the economic growth of Terran, but the irradiate's going on the Overlords before the units have even unloaded, and Vultures streamline in to help clean that up. So I don't feel like there's any damage is going to be dealt there. I think that Royal is slowly walking away with this game.
Pretty good plague there on a bunch of vessels, but the units popping out here absolutely destroyed the moment that they pop out. And now coming through the middle of the map, he has to clear out so many mines here. The tank count is incredibly high as well. Yeah, this is
all around siege and out of position. So this is the best case scenario for Soulkey, but it's still looking like there's just far too much Terran mech for him to chew through. So even though he got kind of a good trade there where the tanks were unsieged and a little bit out of position, even then he wasn't able to gobble them up. So GG.
GG. That's it. Soulkey goes down. Light is in the background. He doesn't have to play this week. Everyone has been eliminated. Terran gonna take the victory. Gets a nice little clapper from KCM. Doesn't manage to get the all kill, I think, here, but still a very, very impressive play from Royal. Just carrying the Terran race to the victory here, and will push them into the lead to start off this season of KCM. We're going to go to our final score screen. So since Scan took out Sins and Bisu took out Royal, no all kill here for our Terran hero. Royal, just very, very close shave, but not able to get that 2 million won prize. He does, though, carry his team to a big win here in week number 1. Usually, you know, it's funny. We very rarely in KCM see Terran take wins in the early part of the season, and last season was no exception. Terran had the very worst score at the end of 8 weeks, but getting started here with a lead, it's looking good. Maybe we'll see a Terran dominated season of KCM this time.
Well, Terran's looking exceptionally strong. Royal had absolutely phenomenal Valkyrie control, almost rivaling Light's Valkyrie control. So I'm really looking forward to seeing more impressive games from that Terran lineup. They're looking very scary, and Light didn't even have to play. He himself has the capability of doing all kills back from his Pro League days.
Absolutely. Well, that's it for today, guys. You can see the score screen here. My name is Sena C. I've been joined by Shun today. Definitely check his stream out. I'll put the link in the description. Thank you guys for coming in. We'll see you in the next week of KCM.